Stadium has been transformed into Turner Field. Atlanta's been home to great baseball moments. None bigger than Hank Aaron's historical number 715. But now in their new home, the Braves have refashioned themselves behind the speed of Kenny Lofton. Meanwhile, the Astros loom as contenders behind Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell. The Braves and the Astros next. We're at the new home of the Atlanta Braves, Turner Field, where the Braves play host to the Houston Astros. Hi again, everyone, with Dave Campbell, Dewayne Staats, and welcome to Atlanta, a brand new venue for this Atlanta ball club. They've made the transformation from Olympic Stadium to a beautiful new ballpark they're calling the Jewel of Atlanta here. But, Dave, the new look is not confined to the ballpark with the arrival of Kenny Lofton.
Yeah, John Schuerholz and John Hart were certainly busy and shocked the baseball world with that big trade involving Grissom and Justice and Kenny Lofton and Alan Embry. The Braves saw close up in 1995 in the World Series how Kenny Lofton can take over a game right from the first inning on, getting on, stealing second, stealing third. They also know about his tremendous defense. He makes the highlight reels on SportsCenter all the time. But last night it was the bat that had him going. He drove in both of Atlanta's first two runs as the Braves played textbook baseball. Blauser doubled, bunted over by Glavine. Lofton singles to left field to give the Braves a 1-0 lead. Then in the fifth inning, Blauser single, a sacrifice by Glavine. Kenny Lofton drives in run number 2. Again, it's Jeff Blauser. Kenny Lofton, a .313 lifetime hitter. He is dynamic, he is exciting, and the Braves are looking forward to big things.
And the changes have not been limited to the Atlanta ball club. Houston finished a disappointing second in the Central Division of the Cardinals last year, and they've made some changes.
They have. You know, the Astros have had winning seasons 4 years in a row, but they haven't been to postseason, and that plus the fact they have a $31 million limit on the payroll necessitated an awful lot of changes. Doug Drabek is gone, a guy that was making a lot of money for a long time. Brian Hunter, a guy in center field they thought had a pretty good upside, but it was disappointing. Kurt Manwaring had a pretty big price tag with him. Andahar Cedeno was inconsistent. So what they did is they went out and made some changes in the offseason like most clubs did. They reacquired Luis Gonzalez, get a good defensive catcher in Brad Osmus. Bob Abreu is going to be a good-looking young hitter. We're going to see him in the lineup tonight. And they also tried to get some bullpen help, particularly in middle relief.
And the changes extended into the dugout. They have a new manager there in Larry Durker, who is hoping that a more relaxed atmosphere on this Houston ball club will translate into more wins for the Astros.
I'm asking them to think for themselves a little bit more than they have in the past. I'm not trying to control everything from the dugout. And I'm hoping that will generate the kind of closeness and teamwork and sort of a fraternal spirit, you know, camaraderie. I'm hoping that, you know, by getting these guys to work with one another on their own, they will have a better baseball team.
The Astros have won 5 of their first 7. The Braves have won 5 of their first 7. And they'll be squaring off here at Turner Field in Game 2 of their 3-game series with some heavy bats in this order.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Welcome back to Wednesday Night Baseball here on ESPN. Gary Miller with you in the studio, keeping you up to date on all the other action around the majors, and that included some courtroom action this afternoon as relief ace Jose Mesa of the Cleveland Indians was acquitted on all rape charges in the Cleveland courtroom. Mesa must still stand trial on 1 count of carrying a concealed weapon, but he wept with joy at the reading of the verdict this afternoon. We are about ready for Indians and Mariners highlights tonight, and the Indians clearly were not ready for the Seattle Bats. The Mariners jumped on them early. Jay Buhner, after Joey Cora already knocked in a couple, knocks in Ken Griffey Jr., and it has been a rough couple of innings for the Indians. That's Russ Davis going the other way. Edgar Martinez will come home on that one as they are lighting up Cleveland 6-0, and they are still batting in the second. Klein came on in relief in the first. Wolcott has been staked to a 6-0 lead as the Mariners' onslaught against Cleveland has gotten underway. This afternoon in Comiskey, those are 3 of the 746 people who paid. The smallest crowd in more than 27 years. At least they avoided seeing Tony Phillips and the White Sox frustrated by Roger Clemens, who was on. Of course, most people didn't want to swing a bat on a day like this. But Clemens did suffer a groin pull in the 6th inning, so he leaves the game with 7 strikeouts as Clemens combines with 2 relievers on the shutout of Chicago. The White Sox are off to a 1-3 start at home, getting blanked 5-0. The Tigers got a grand slam home run from Bobby Higginson as they trampled the Twins 10-5. At the top of the hour, it'll be the Orioles and the Royals. Scott Kaminecki, the former Yankee, against Jose Rosado, the lefty for the Royals. And ESPN, second half of our doubleheader, will have the Yankees and the Angels for you from the Big A in Anaheim as New York wraps up its road trip to start the season. In the National League so far today, the Rockies in a romp of the Reds 13-4. Galarraga has homered in this game. Larkin went back-to-back to get the Reds on the board, but the Rockies have blown away Ray Knight's team, and Ray Knight is not managing today. He suffered a concussion in a skiing mishap the day before. Phillies and Giants 3-0. San Francisco shuts down the Phils. Kirk Reeder went 7. Rod Beck 5 for 5 in saves this season as the Giants are off to a surprisingly strong start. Philadelphia is 3-6. Later this evening, it'll be Chan Home Park against the Mets' Dave Malicki. That comes your way at 10:30 Eastern Time. And the Pirates and the Padres finish up their series. Tim Morrell facing the Pirates. Don't forget, our Sunday night game of the week is from Busch. The Houston Astros and St. Louis Cardinals. The Astros already enjoy a 5-game lead on St. Louis, but Ron Gant and company finally got in the win column on yesterday. They will play again tomorrow afternoon to see if they can move to 2-6. Right now, it's time for our game at the new Turner Field. The Braves hosting the Astros. Here's Dewayne Staats.
All right, Gary, thank you. We are at 755 Hank Aaron Drive in Atlanta, just across the street from the old ballpark here. Beautiful new Turner Field, where the Atlanta Braves and the Houston Astros will meet in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Rick Biggio turns out to be the resident veteran on the Houston club, and he likes the new atmosphere under Larry Dierker.
Larry wants us to go out there and play the game of baseball, kind of like when he played the game. You go out, you do your hit and running with the guy behind you, you do your stealing, you do what you have to do. Pitchers, we talk about a lot of things, talk about making pitches and what you have to do, and the communication lines are open. And it's gone very smoothly up to this point in time. It's been great.
And we'll take a look at the starting lineup for the Houston Ball Club under the direction of Larry Dierker. Lineups sponsored by Nextel. Biggio leading off. The young right fielder Bob Abreu hits second, followed by Bell, Gonzalez, Eusebio, Johnson, and Bogarts at shortstop today, and Darryl Kyle will do the pitching.
Denny Nagel pitches for the Braves tonight. He was 16-9 with the Pirates and Braves a year ago, 3.50 the ERA. And his debut against the Cubs, a no decision. He went 6 innings. 27-11 the last 2 years, mostly with Pittsburgh, so he can pitch. He was traded last year for Ron Wright, Jason Schmidt, and Corey Painter as the Pirates were looking for youth, and the Braves picked up Nagel, then signed him to a long-term deal. His best pitch is a changeup, but they say he's been throwing hard early in 1997. We'll check the defense behind Nagel. Kenny Lofton, the newcomer in center field. Michael Tucker, also picked up in a last-minute trade prior to the season from Kansas City, will play right. He's a good-looking left-handed hitter. Defense can be a little suspect, along with Ryan Klesko in left. Lofton may have to cover an awful lot of ground in center field tonight.
Lofton picked it up at the plate as well last night. He came up with 3 hits and a couple of runs batted in. Houston knocked off Atlanta, taking 2 out of 3 in the opening series of the year over in Houston. And the Braves back with a win last night, 4-2 over the Astros.
Kenny glancing towards the light banks. A lot of problems here in the early going with the lights, and especially in left center field.
Biggio goes after the first pitch, sends it into play, and Tucker in right field is there to make the catch.
Last night, you and I went out and took a tour of the ballpark, and as we were standing in center field behind Kenny Lofton, we just happened to notice that it seemed very dark out there to begin with. Then when you looked up in the lights, it almost blinded you. Probably won't be too bad right now, but maybe a half hour, 45 minutes from now, when darkness kicks in, it could be tough.
There's two banks of lights on either side of the plate, and it seems particularly the one off to the left has bothered some outfielders here in the first few games of the life of Turner Field. Bob Abreu, and the pitch to him is in there for a strike. The Astros like the way he swings the bat. He's just 23 years old, facing the left-hander Nagel tonight. A ball and a strike here. Abreu spent most of last year with Tucson. He had 285 and then started a handful of games for the Astros a year ago. Behind in the count 1-2.
Some people have even compared his swing to Barry Bonds. Very short, quick, and they say very sweet. I know his stance looks like Roberto Alomar from that side of the plate.
And he goes 2-2 here against Nagel. Strong wrist, they say, out of this young hitter. On the ground, the second. Lemke in front of this one. Two outs here. There's Larry Durker, the first-year manager. Larry is involved in this thing, and he has Bill Verdon right next to him.
Yeah, Larry knows what wins games. Yesterday was the first time the Astros had given up more than 3 runs in a game. Being an excellent pitcher in his own right, he knows he'll win a few if he can hold the opposition to 3 or less.
Jeff Bagwell. Ball 1. Bagwell with 31 home runs last year, and after that 292 start, a pretty good start a year ago, and that has not always been the case with him. It was just a couple years ago that he went into June struggling to get to the 200 mark. He was a little over 180 2 years ago as June approached.
Bagwell hits out of that deep crouch. He has problems when he starts rising out of that crouch too soon. That makes his head move. When he stays in his crouch pretty much all the way through the swing, that's when he does some damage.
And this crouch is not as exaggerated as it used to be. And to right center, and that's going to be in there for a base hit. Tucker makes the pickup.
Well, let's take a look at that swing from our low first base camera. As Bagwell, again, I agree with you. He's not quite as deep in that crouch, but the key is staying in the crouch, and that keeps his head still. He has problems when he starts rising up. That causes his head to rise, and he has trouble tracking the baseball, but he stayed very well in that crouch that time.
Bagwell aboard against Nagel, and here's Derek Bell. Bell, a big RBI year last year.
I see Derek's got his tribute to the Negro Leagues on tonight. He's got the Sox pants up high and very little white showing. Some of the players have done that. I know Delano DeShields has done it for quite a while. Deion Sanders is doing it this year. Most of the time, Derek has the pants pulled all the way down over the ankle, but not tonight.
He's 7 out of 16 lifetime against Nagel. Nagel actually a couple of games under 500 against Houston for his career. The 28-year-old lefty, 2 wins and 4 losses against the Astros. Bell is out in front. Well, that's a great weapon to have behind in the count.
Well, one of the reasons the Braves got Denny Nagel is he fits right in their pattern. He can throw the changeup for strikes anytime. 2 balls, no strikes. Almost every hitter will set dead red, even if they know the guy has a great changeup. Nagel just turned him inside out. Bagwell stole 21 last year, so Nagel will keep him close. Runners were 22 for 30 against Denny Nagel. He does have a slow, deliberate delivery, but you just got to make sure he's coming to the plate.
Yeah, his move is actually pretty good, but he takes a while unloading the ball. And is down 3-1 in the count. We're in the top of the first. A 2-out single has placed Bagwell at first.
Well, if he went change 2-0, let's see if he goes change 3-1. Nope, gassed him up. But at least he had Bell at least thinking about it because he showed it to him 2-0. This is just some high gas, and oh, that's a pitch Derek is going, man, how did I miss that?
So the count is full. Giving Bagwell a step or two extra with the delivery. Headed for Lemke. And he takes care of 2 of the 3 outs in the inning. The Astros leave a man. We'll go into the bottom of the first from Turner Field. No score. The Astros and the Braves. Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves coming in to hit in the bottom of the first. Astros left a man on in their half the inning. And for Nextel, here is the Atlanta lineup. Lofton, Tucker, and Jones, McGriff, Fresco, Lopez, Lemke, Blauser red hot in the 8th spot. He's hit safely in 8 straight trips to the plate. That's 8 straight hits. No walks, nothing else. Just 8 straight plate appearances, 8 straight hits.
He's within 2 of the National League record as we take a look at Darryl Kyle. Blauser's 4 for 34 lifetime against Kyle, so he'll have his work cut out. 12 and 11 a year ago. Last start, he had 6 2/3 of no-hit ball until Fred McGriff hit a home run. He's been voted by the National League managers and coaches as having the best curveball in the league. Watch for that if he's on. Defense playing behind him. Derek Bell has moved from right field to center. Luis Gonzalez has been reacquired to play left. Bob Abreu, the rookie, in right. And Tim Bogart takes over for Pat Listach. Russ Johnson at third base is up from the minors as Sean Berry's on the DL with a groin pull.
And Kenny Lofton will lead off. Lofton, Tucker, and Jones against Kyle.
First baseman and third baseman right down Lofton's throat. He's a great bunter.
And the first pitch is a ball. Lofton, a big part of the Atlanta win last night. The Braves have won 5 straight after dropping the first 2 games to the Astros over in Houston. 2-0 the count.
Key for Darryl Kyle is always control. 97 walks a year ago, 3rd highest in the National League. When he throws strikes, he is very tough to hit.
And there's a strike. It's 2-1. The Astros, throughout his career with this ball club, have recognized that it's a matter of control and confidence for Kyle. There's the swing from 95 to 96. Down to short. Bogart takes care of this one, and Lofton is out number 1.
Tim Bogart was acquired March 31st from the New York Mets. It did not go over too well with a lot of the Met players. He was a very popular player in their clubhouse, particularly close friends with Todd Hundley. Bogart, a guy who can play a lot of spots, gets a call at shortstop tonight.
Taken off the waiver wire by the Astros general manager Jerry Hunsicker, who was firsthand familiar with Bogart from his days in the Mets front office. There's a shot foul up the right field line. Tucker with a quick bat and strong.
When he was taken number 1 by the Kansas City Royals back in 1992, he had played on the U.S. Olympic team, and everybody has always loved this kid's bat. Outfield can be a little iffy, but you see that bat get through that zone in a hurry. He pulls Kyle's best fastball down the right field line.
Base is empty. Down to second for Biggio. And that is out number 2. So the Gold Glove second baseman takes care of that one in routine fashion. This Fulton County Stadium as we near sundown in Atlanta, now in the shadow of Turner Field.
Fulton County was supposed to be torn down, but now there's a referendum in the city council to keep it for soccer and other events. So that's kind of an ongoing thing. They were going to tear it down and make a parking lot out of it.
A ball. The count to Chipper Jones. 2-0.
Started him off with a hook and then threw him a splitter. Kyle felt if he would have had his split finger pitch when he went against the Braves his last time out, he might have had a no-hitter. He said he just couldn't get that pitch over. He went 6 2/3, as we said, before McGriff took him deep.
Now Kyle is behind the Atlanta third baseman. 3-0. Kyle threw that no-hitter against the Mets in August of '93 en route to a 15-win season that year. And he walks Jones on 4 pitches. And that will bring up Brett McGriff, who connected against Kyle in the Astrodome to break up that no-hit bid. 1 of 5 lifetime home runs. Kyle has given up to McGriff.
Fred's about the only guy in the Braves lineup who has done much damage against Darryl Kyle. The 5 home runs Dewayne mentioned, .250 average is the best of any Brave hitter against Darryl Kyle.
And 321 through the first week plus of this year. Ball 1.
McGriff at one time this winter was on the trading block. In fact, he was nearly dealt to the Cincinnati Reds, but because of his salary, the Reds just couldn't take it on. The Braves at that time had not signed Mark Lemke, and they were thinking about taking Brett Boone to play second base.
Throws a strike on the edge, and it's 1-1. Astros and the Braves were 6-6 in their series last year. They've started this year dividing the first 4 games.
Braves, one thing that always stays the same with them, tremendous numbers if they score first and if they score 4 or more runs. During this great 6-year run they've had with this pitching, you score first for the Atlanta Braves, you're going to win about 75 to 80% of the time, as opposed to the major league average of 67.
McGriff sends it into left. Gonzalez is there and makes the grab to retire the side. We have completed 1 inning. Nagel and Kyle the matchup. No score from Turner Field in Atlanta.
The Rockies return home on a romp. Bruce Ruffin on the mound in the 9th, facing Willie Green, and he gets the last out of the game. Green had homered earlier in the game. In fact, it was back-to-back-to-back home runs in the 6th, but the Rockies romp 13-4.
So the Rockies win their 6th of the year. They're 6-2 and hang on to their lead in the West.
Well, for Rockies fans, it was good to see Ellis Burks back in there. He sprained his wrist on Sunday in Montreal, and they were a little concerned about it, but it looks like with a home run today, he's okay.
Here's Luis Gonzalez back in a Houston uniform after spending a year with the Cubs. And the first pitch he takes upstairs, ball 1. Gonzalez had a good year with the Cubs last year. Was a clutch performer. Lines it towards center. Lofton on one hop knocks it down with his bare hand. Gonzalez digging for second, and he is safe. Gonzalez comes up with a double.
Gonzalez has always hit well against Denny Nagel. 364 lifetime with a homer and 9 RBIs. Gets a fastball out over the plate. Kenny Lofton, I think, thought about it, but I think the wind pushed it away from him, and then he tries to grab it with a bare hand. A double all the way, though. You can't penalize a guy for knocking down a ball like that in the alley. Gonzalez was thinking 2 all the way, and he's in with a lead double. The wind just seemed to push it away from Kenny. There's a pretty good breeze blowing. Fortunately, he knocked it down with a bare hand, or that would have been a triple.
Tony Eusebio, the Houston catcher, takes it too low, ball 1. Eusebio catching tonight instead of Brad Ausmus. Ausmus has been a key addition to the Houston ball club, especially for his defensive work and his throwing ability behind the plate. 1-1, and Larry Durker has the challenge of keeping Eusebio sharp enough with his bat, so he has to give him some playing time, even though Ausmus may turn out to be one of the premier defensive catchers in baseball.
Ausmus has thrown out Kenny Lofton twice so far. Once at second, once at third base in the 4 meetings between these two teams.
Well, the other element to Eusebio being in there tonight, 4 out of 7 against Nagel lifetime. 2-2 the count. Houston with the first scoring opportunity of the game. Leadoff double by Gonzalez.
2 winningest teams in baseball the last 6 years. If you count times over 500, the Braves have been over 500 6 years in a row. The Astros 4 times, but the Astros have not been to any kind of postseason party. And that's what they're looking for this year. Now that ball would have been out of any stadium, but one of the changes at Turner Field, only 45 feet between the foul lines and the stands, as opposed to 100 feet over at the previous ballpark across the street, where a lot of foul ball outs occurred for this Braves pitching staff. There were 6 pop-ups last night as we watched the game that probably would have been caught that were not here.
And this one goes out to 3-2. Eusebio checked in time. Maddox, 2.57 ERA. That's, well, generally speaking, about the norm.
He and wife Kathy just welcomed their baby son on Monday on the off day. Her son Chase Maddox.
He's checking the length of the fingers already to see if the grip on the curveball or the slider might be. Right center field. Lofton makes the catch. Gonzalez will go to third without a problem. Lofton had to track away from the play to make the catch on that ball, and Gonzalez easily advanced a base.
Well, that ball kept floating away from Kenny Lofton. We mentioned it on Gonzalez's ball, but you can see the wind is blowing fairly strong from left over towards right center. Lofton looked like he had a beat on this all the way, but he just had to keep going and going and going as the wind was drifting it away from him. And a good base running play by Gonzalez. He had that one measured all the way.
And now Russ Johnson, who's playing third base, is up there with the Atlanta infield in and a man at third. 1 out. Ball 1.
This is pretty good testimony to Darryl Kyle's stuff. A lot of times you'll concede a run early, but the kind of stuff that Kyle has, Bobby Cox, the Braves manager, doesn't want to give one up early.
Johnson takes that one just a little wide. He's out of the program at LSU. Played shortstop in college and has played shortstop most of his pro career. A couple of minor league seasons in the Astros system. They had him play some third this spring, and it's come in handy. Down to third. Jones is there to make the play, and Gonzalez is forced to hold at third.
That's the pitcher upsetting the timing of the hitter. Russ Johnson trying to hit the ball straight away to center field, but Nagel took just enough off that Johnson's out in front, and Chipper's able to smother it. See Chipper getting ready, makes a good first step, smothers it, checks the runner, and then just unloads it to first base. You know, another thing, Dewayne, we talk about, strategy. With this wind whipping in pretty good from left center field, that might be another reason Bobby Cox had the infield in. I mean, Darryl Kyle and the wind blowing in. Every run is going to be very precious tonight.
Now Tim Bogar is looking for his first hit of the year. 0 for 5 at the plate. The number 8 hitter. And this one is down, ball 1. Big at bat for Bogar, not only because there's a man at third with 2 outs, but in that 8th spot, if he could get aboard with a base hit to drive in the run, that's the first object. The second is to get the pitcher to the plate and turn the batting order around. There's the strike.
Bobby Cox having a lot of faith in Denny Nagel, a veteran pitcher. He is hoping that if Bogart does swing the bat and makes contact, he'll have to hit Nagel's pitch. This is a tough spot to hit in if you know that guy's basically trying to pitch around you.
He takes this one up. 2 balls and a strike.
With my lifetime average, I've hit in that 8-hole a few times in my life.
A living testimony to how difficult the spot that is.
Well, you have to expand the strike zone and really do a lot of guessing with the pitcher in this situation.
That's going to be out of play, and the count is 2-2. Well,
that ball was a little fatter than Nagel wanted to.
Atlanta with a pretty good number 8 hitter who doesn't always hit there in Lemke.
Well, they got to get number 8 hitter today, Blauser,
yep.
who's leading the National League. That's tough. You're 542 and you're hitting 8th in the order.
That's right. Well, he's so tough that they can't afford to put Lemke in that valuable 8 spot. Now we have a full count on Bogart. Blauser due to hit 4th in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Well, it was fun today. We did talk to him. We'll show you a bit of that conversation. We talked a little before the game. He looked at me and said, "What do you want?" I said, "Hey, I only talk to you once every 3 years. Be happy."
There's the walk. 1st and 3rd with a pitcher coming up and 2 gone. Reminder, we have highlights, news, notes, and the latest live press conferences and more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with ESPN News. To get ESPN News, be sure to call your local cable operator or satellite program provider. They'll hook you right up. And here's Darryl Kyle, who is 0 for 2 this year. He went 0 for 1991 when he came up. And fouls this one back into the screen, strike 1.
Really wasn't a bad job by Nagel walking Bogart. He did give him 1 fat pitch up in the strike zone, the 2-1 pitch, but I think Denny went, I'm really going to make him chase something in this situation. It's okay to pitch around a guy, but make sure the pitcher doesn't get a hit off you.
And strike 2. Well, Nagel has gone right to work here against his opponent. 2 strike count. Kyle out on strikes. First strikeout for Nagel. He leaves a couple men on base behind him. Bottom of the 2nd coming. Nothing in the scoring department. No scores. We move into the bottom of the 2nd inning. First game of our ESPN Wednesday night doubleheader. The Yankees and the Angels will be coming up from Anaheim following our game. Boy, they had a wild one yesterday with the Anaheim Angels defeating the Yankees 10-9 in 12 innings. That coming up following our game from Turner Field.
You like offense? 3 American League games yesterday. Total 61 runs scored. That's 20 plus a game.
They had 19, so they were under the average.
Yeah, the Mariners and the Indians with 22 were tops.
Here's Quesco, Ryan Quesco. He takes a breaking ball for ball 1. Quesco unloads this one to center field. Bell back. He's hit the track and gathers it in. Derek Bell went back to the warning track and caught that one over his shoulder.
Well, Larry Dierker was asked, how about that experiment in center field? He said, wait a minute, Brian Hunter last year led the National League in errors. Derek Bell has experience in center field, and he makes a good running catch just before going in. And Quesco, I think, thought he had that one. Ball will not carry well here in April and May, especially with the chillier weather. But I think that ball in July or August is long gone.
Bell tracked it down as it stayed in the park. Quesco last year with those 34 home runs, you know, he generally murders right-handed pitching. 31 of the 34 came against right-handers, and he made a bid to deep center on that one. Javi Lopez, a ball, no strikes to count. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
That's that nasty curve of Kyle's. Left-handed batters hit .316 against Kyle, so Bobby Cox loaded up with about as many lefties as he could get in there.
As a line shot into left, stays up, and you could see Gonzalez defensive out there as he had to look toward that bank of lights to grab that one.
Well, I know you and I last night, when we looked up into those lights, about 2 or 3 seconds was about as long as you could look. Fortunately for Gonzalez, this ball was hit so hard it didn't stay up 2 or 3 seconds. But you can see he was really struggling.
There they are, and the contrast starts to get a little more pronounced as Darkness starts to engulf the ballpark here. Mark Lemke. Ball, no strikes. Well, and Gonzalez tested here in the first 2 outs of the second inning.
We'll have to check Klesko when he goes to left field next inning, because he has been wearing some tinted glasses out there, even for night games.
2 balls and a strike.
Hopeful. I'm sure the outfielders are going to be hopeful. That's a problem that can be cleared up. I do know that in San Diego they had a problem with the lights as far back as 1969, and there's still balls lost in left center and high choppers to third base. Third baseman losing the lights. So I don't know that it's something you can get an immediate solution to.
Lemke lifts this one toward the line for Gonzalez. So 3 fly balls, 1, 2, 3. Go the Braves. Houston coming in to hit. Bagwell due to hit third. It'll be Biggio, Abreu, and Bagwell with no score. Through 2 from Atlanta onto the third from Turner Field. The Astros and the Braves are scoreless. And the Houston contingent in. They are on the verge of getting a new ballpark in Houston. Their owner, Drayton McLean, Tal Smith, the president of the club, and Jerry Hunsicker, the general manager, in the second row there. Took a tour of the ballpark here today, trying to get some ideas for the future of that ballpark in Houston. Greg Biggio takes the first one too high, ball 1. Here's the view for the Houston contingent as they watch tonight's game at Turner Field.
They got Uke's seat there in the front row, but and the third deck up.
2 balls and a strike. Biggio opened this ball game with a fly ball to right. And a base hit into left. Biggio's aboard to open the third.
Well, we mentioned the light problems, and the Braves tried to address it after the game last night. Ryan Klesko was standing out in front of the dugout, staring up at the lights with various personnel of the Braves and the ground crew and the stadium engineers, and he's trying to show him, well, yeah, but when I get out in left field, that's when it really gets bad. So why don't we go out to left field? And can I explain it? I'm not sure. Maybe we can get Kenny Lofton over here. Kenny, come on over, Kenny. Yeah. Kenny's saying, yeah, it's bad for me, too. No expression in baseball. You can't hit what you can't see. You can't catch what you can't see. But Klesko does not have those glasses on tonight.
Rob Abreu takes the pitch upstairs, ball 1. So that's another problem that the Houston contingent will try to avoid as they study this ballpark with an eye toward what they're calling the ballpark at Union Station, set for downtown Houston. Now Biggio over at first base with some speed, as you know. 25 steals a year ago. He's 1 of 1 so far this year.
We've talked about the great bat control of Abreu as well, so you could even see a hit and run here.
He lifts it toward left. Klesko on the run, still moving, looking up, and that ball will bounce to the wall. Biggio waved home by Cubbies. The throw is not in time. Biggio scores on the double by Abreu, and Houston leads 1-0.
Always that tough call for the third base coach with nobody out and Bagwell coming up. But Cubbage thought he had a shot. Good slide by Biggio. He went right after Javier Lopez, who was blocking the plate. So the Astros draw first blood as Abreu doubles. Klesko makes a good throw into Blauser's. Jeff's throw is pretty much on target, but look at Biggio. Goes right into the leg of Lopez because he knows if he just tries to hook slide that Lopez is going to block him off the plate. So the Braves execute this perfectly, but it was a good read on the ball by Biggio that he got a good jump off first base, and that was the difference. And again, go right in there hard, because if you try to hook slide or just go in and try to touch the plate with your foot, that catcher's going to block you off the plate.
So Abreu doubles against the left-hander, and here's Jeff Bagwell.
Well, Larry Dierker's been doing his homework. We talked to him before the game, and I said, I suppose you noticed that left-handers actually hit Nagel better last year. And he said, yeah, average was better. The power numbers were down just a hair, but I want to give this kid a shot to play tonight.
2-0 the count to Bagwell.
One of the things Denny Nagel has been very uncharacteristic of Braves pitchers. Through the first 12 hitters, 9 first pitch balls, 3 strikes. Braves pitchers are on. They throw a lot of first pitch strikes.
He picks up the strike zone on the outside corner with that one. 2-1. There's Leo and that familiar rock.
Pretty decent staff he's got to work with.
Bagwell. To rip that time. He generates some power with that swing.
Nagel throws a slider down and in. And Bagwell had a big swing, didn't connect.
This one up the right side. Jeff Bagwell, 315 last year, a career tops in the RBI department with 120.
See that on base percentage, you can lift that about 76 points against left-handed pitching. Well over 500 on base percentage against lefties.
Unanimous MVP pick in 1994. Hit to third, but Jones is there and makes the throw. Abreu remains at second on the ground ball to third.
Chipper is so smooth. Last year he played 35 games at shortstop while Blauser was injured. Asked his favorite position to play, center field, but looks the runner back. Technically he is so sound. And him to drift with the stretch.
And now that he's been around for a couple of years, they're starting to think of him in terms of some of the all-time great third basemen, including one who played for the Braves through the years, Eddie Matthews. Here's Derek Bell. The pitch is down ball. And those comparisons are funny things, though. You get a lot of young players coming up, and then, boy, this is the next Willie Mays of the Houston club when Cedeno came up. Willie Mays, Roberto Clemente. And it's really unfair. You even had some comparisons made of the young outfielder Andrew Jones here of Henry Aaron, because they're built the same and there's some power, but it's unfair and a long way to go to start making those kind of comparisons legitimate. 1-1 the count to Bell. But just in case you're wondering, look at the rookie seasons for Matthews and Chipper Jones at the age of 20. Chipper's numbers pretty good shape there. Tap third base, charged by Chipper Jones, gets rid of it. 2 gone, and the man is still at second.
Well, at least we don't have the Sports Illustrated jinx. I could see him booting it and throwing it away after we talked about him. Nice play by Chipper. Derek Bell, who chops down on the ball about as much as anybody, gets on top of this one, but Chipper very smooth. Abreu did not read that ball very well off second base. Anytime that third baseman has to charge for a ball, Abreu should have been over at third.
The Astros now nothing of 5 in the early stages of this game with a man in scoring position. Ruggiero opened with a single, and Abreu doubled him home. He's still at second with 2 gone for Luis Gonzalez, who was among the top 10 in the league in hitting with men in scoring position last year for the Cubs.
And I got a kick out of Luis's comments, though. He said my RBI total wasn't that high because Sammy Sosa was hitting in front of me. He either cleaned the bases or ended the rally. Didn't leave me many ducks on the pond. Javi Lopez out to have a chat with Denny Nagel. Again, 9 RBIs career against Nagel with a home run and a 364-plus average coming in tonight. So this is not your typical lefty-lefty matchup.
We're in the third. Houston with a run. 2 outs, a man at second. A little close. 1-1.
have our truck update. Nice going, guys. 391 lifetime.
Gonzalez had a good spring. We're close to 420 for Houston. Pops it up. Jones backing out. And he takes care of that one to retire the side. Houston settles for one run, and they leave a man. Jeff Blauser with 8 straight hits coming up to lead off the bottom of the third for the Atlanta Braves.
Astros draw first blood. Jeff Blauser coming on, and he has been some kind of hot. Last night, really kept his shoulder in well. Opens with a double. Watch the shoulder stay in, drive it up the middle. Third time up, shoulder stays in on a breaking ball, drives it up the middle, and keeping the shoulder in also makes you quick inside, as he just missed a home run on this one. 8 straight hits for Jeff Blauser.
He goes after the first one and lets a high fly ball into left center field. Gonzalez is there, and he puts an end to that streak.
Well, the National League record was 10 in a row, 9 times last time by Jeff Roberts. Major League record 12, but something Jeff doesn't hear a lot of here in Atlanta, an ovation.
He was hitting .542 coming off the 8 straight hits before jumping on the first pitch and lifting it to Gonzalez in left center.
Actually had a good swing at a fastball. Kyle just got it in on him a bit.
Nagel fouls one back for a strike. Nagel bounces this one for Biggio. Back to first. So 3 pitches and 2 outs in the third inning for Darryl Kyle against the bottom 2 in the Atlanta batting order. A little cool in Atlanta. It was in the low 60s when this game started.
I think the people in Chicago would take this right now, though.
We'll take this in the middle of the summer.
Candlestick, too, in the middle of the summer.
Yep. Kenny Lofton. And the people in Atlanta would take this in the middle of the summer here, too.
Mm-hmm.
Lofton showing some signs of bunting and takes it for a ball. Johnson remains close, as you would expect, at third.
Sure, that trade's going to be talked about all summer. Who's helping who? But you have 3 quality players and a pitcher with a great upside in Alan Embry. Figure time at the end of the season, there'll be something to talk about again, but they're quality players.
Sinking liner out to short, and Bogart takes care of that with the throw to Bagwell. A 1-2-3 inning. We're headed into the 4th. 1-0 Houston.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Original Coors, pure and simple, the last real beer. And by Ace Hardware. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks.
We have a 1-run ball game as we go into the 4th inning with Dave Campbell, Dewayne Staats from Turner Field. Braves and the Astros in the middle game of their series. And the Houston catcher, Tony Eusebio, leads off against Denny Nagel. And the liner will not stay up. 1 hop to Lofton in center. Eusebio with a base hit. So that gives him 5 out of 9 lifetime off Nagel.
Also 339 against lefties last year. He's got an inside-out stroke. Brings the hands in, drives it to the opposite field. The Braves were playing him that way, but he still was able to get it in front of Lofton.
And this is the 3rd straight inning in which the Astros have put the leadoff man on. Gonzalez doubled in the 2nd. Biggio singled and scored in the 3rd. And now Eusebio there at first with a toss over there from Nagel. Russ Johnson. Johnson recalled from New Orleans with Sean Berry on the disabled list. Berry with the groin injury. A shot right to McGriff, who doubles off Eusebio. Well, into line drive, and not much you can do about that.
That's the one he needed last time when the Braves infield was playing in. He ended up pulling the ball with a man on third. If he hits that ball the previous at bat, he's got himself a double. You can see Fred McGriff. He's not one of those guys that gets off the base a long ways anyway, and then it was duck soup once he grabbed that one. Some first basemen really get off a long ways. Prime Dog's never been real gliding over at first base. Sometimes it hurts. That time it paid off.
Now Bogart's up there, and again his job's to try to get on, but it will not happen this time as Blauser takes care of the number 8 hitter. 4 pitches in the inning, bottom of the 4th, 1-0 Houston.
An update from the Kingdom where Russell Davis is healthy and so is his bat. Off Steve Klein, he rocks his second home run of the year. He's also knocked in another run in the Mariners' 6th-run first. Meanwhile, Bob Wolcott is pitching a shutout at the Indians. The Mariners up 8-0.
Well, the Mariners scored 14 yesterday, 8 so far tonight.
Mariners may get their ERA under 6 if Wolcott can pitch that shutout. They started 8+ today.
Michael Tucker leading off against Kyle, taking the first pitch upstairs, ball 1. Just a little piece of it. Foul, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Let me make an assumption in that Cleveland game that Sandy Alomar Jr. has not hit a home run for the 6th straight game so far.
We had 4 hits in that game yesterday, 4 out of 5. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Great thing about the first week, who would guess that Jeff Blauser would be leading the National League in hitting and Sandy Alomar would be number 2 in the American League. They play 26 weeks, though, folks. And as Blauser said before the game, things have a tendency to even out. He said if I had this kind of a streak in the middle of the year, nobody would even notice.
2-2 the count. Kyle Tucker to chop of that last pitch as the bottom fell out. This one fouled.
Darryl Kyle, very good in the early going. 27 pitches through 3 innings. And, of course, we mentioned the last time out, he held the Braves hitless for 6 2/3, and they do not have one going to the 4th tonight.
They wound up losing that game 3-2. 12-11 last year. Behind Reynolds and Hampton, Kyle, a real key to any plans the Astros have for a successful year.
Also have a youngster named Chris Holt that Larry Dierker is very high on. He's not overpowering, but has pretty good movement on his pitches, a good split finger. Another key is going to be Sid Fernandez. We take a tour with our remote camera. Turner Field.
This one is wide, and the count is full. Well, the fans have a lot to do here at Turner Field. Starts with a game and then all kinds of video arcades and more. This one misses off the plate in. Kyle gives up a walk. Lead-off pass to Tucker. Coming up Sunday from Bristol, Tennessee, the NASCAR Food City 500 from historic Bristol Motor Speedway. It's a great short track, always treat you to some of the great bumper-to-bumper racing. That's Sunday, 12:30 Eastern on ESPN. Chipper Jones. He takes it the other way toward the corner, twisting out of play.
Only run in the game scored on a leadoff walk to Biggio. Tucker is walked to lead off here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
And it's the only time so far in this game the Braves have put the leadoff man aboard. They had a 2-out walk to Chipper Jones. Now the leadoff walk to Tucker. Ball, 1 strike.
Kyle, an all-star in '93. Within a couple of years, he was down in the minor leagues battling his control problems. It's terrific stuff. And when he harnesses it, I guarantee you there aren't too many right-handed batters in this league that look at that pitching matchup a couple of days on the line and start jumping up and down when Darryl Kyle's there.
Ball and 2 strikes, and the story on him goes back to when he was drafted. He was not a high draft pick in terms of first or second rounder. Matter of fact, he was drafted somewhere down the line, about 30th, somewhere like that. And when he got a call from the scout that drafted him, he introduced himself. He says, "We've drafted you," and he says, "Don't call me again." He says, "Why would you play this kind of practical joke on me?" And hung up on the scout. He did that not once, but twice. The scout had to call 3 times before he convinced him that he'd really been drafted.
Well, Kyle weighed about 145 to 150 pounds coming out of high school and went to junior college, but then the Astros signed him before the next draft and gave him quite a bit of money.
Deflected to second. Biggio is short, and the throw is wide. Hits the front pole of the dugout. Tearing back to Eusebio. They actually made a play there on Jones at first, but he was back to the bag.
Bogart had all his timing messed up as Biggio had this ball roll up his arm. The Astros catch a break, though, because this ball looked like it was going to go in the dugout and hit one of the poles. Looks like a dead double play ball, but Biggio has a little trouble in between hops. And when he shovels it to Bogart, Tim's timing's all messed up, and you see the slide by Tucker takes him out. And Bogart's throw very erratic, but it hit a pole right in front of the Braves dugout. Otherwise, Chipper Jones at second base.
So Houston gets a break. Jones at first with 1 out, and here's the big bat of Fred McGriff. 0-1.
The second strike to Chipper Jones. Kyle threw him a great split finger pitch. And if he gets that thing working, left-handed batters are not going to be swinging quite so well against Darryl Kyle.
McGriff and Quesco, the next 2 Atlanta hitters. There's a strike.
The curveball is starting to find the strike zone with more frequency right now. When Kyle gets that over, he is even tougher than normal.
The curveball, his best pitch, now to first. Jones back in. And his fastball is, there's nothing wrong with his fastball. It may not be completely overpowering, but it's better than the average major league fastball. And you throw the split in the mix. Foul ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's a peek inside the Atlanta bullpen, located beyond the right center field fence here at Turner Field. Comfortable digs out there.
The old ballpark is down the right field line, so the pitchers and catchers could see a little better.
The count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. And because of the location of both bullpens, the visiting bullpen is even more out of sight here. They have monitors in the dugouts, a lot like Skydome. And they're on top there, and the bullpen is actually behind and below where the Astro relievers were sitting. Base hit. Jones makes the turn. He'll stop right there. First and second.
Fabio Abreu with a good arm, and Chipper Jones, that's good advanced scouting by the Atlanta Braves. He just decided not to take a chance. A guy like McGriff, he just overpowers the ball, and that's the first hit for the Braves. Ground ball, but with that top spin, it just picks up speed going through. Biggio cannot get it. Chipper thought about turning and going to third, but the reports on Abreu, a strong throwing arm.
And Ryan Quesco steps in. He hit the ball a mile to center field in the second inning, and Derek Bell tracked it down on the warning track. The end of the dirt skips away from Eusebio, who cannot find it. Here comes Jones. He's going to try to score, and he is out at the plate. Eusebio couldn't find it, and Kyle covered the plate. Jones tried to score from second and is cut down. third.
Well, Chipper came around third. He didn't think Eusebio still could find it. Kyle, 13 wild pitches a year ago, so this isn't that unusual. You see, Eusebio doesn't see it right away, and Chipper heads up, spots it. He's kind of on his own there. You can't blame the third base coach for that. And Chipper thought he got the foot in safely, but the umpire was behind the play. Watch again. Chipper thinks the tag is missed and that he gets his foot on the plate before he's tagged. But home plate umpire Larry Vanover says you're out.
Quesco takes a breaking ball low, so a wild pitch allows the advance. Jones is out. Eusebio to Kyle. Bobby Dews down at third base. Third time around. There is a base hit. Past the diving Bagwell. That picks up McGriff as Quesco ties the game.
Big hit for Ryan Klesko. It looked like the Braves had a big inning going, and then that call at the plate. Looks like maybe Kyle's going to get out of it, but Klesko delivers a 2-out RBI single to get even at 1 apiece. And again, the lead walk kills the pitcher.
Boy, that was not an easy run to get for the Braves. They had that one ball on the throw by Bogar that hit the pole and the railing in front of the dugout. And then they lose Jones at the plate on the wild pitch. And Quesco picks up his club with a base hit to drive home the run. Now here's Lopez. Javier Lopez. This pitch is a little wide. Ball 1.
Little things. Biggio handles that ball cleanly. It's a double play ball off the bat of Chipper Jones, but when he bobbled, that messed up the timing, and then Tucker's slide prevented the double play.
And there is ball 2.
Larry Dierkes said, I want to play little ball with my team offensively. He said, back in my days as a pitcher, everybody talked about the big red machine and all their home run power. He said, I didn't have problems with Johnny Bench and Tony Perez and those guys. It was Morgan and Bobby Tolan and Ken Griffey Jr. and Rose that were nickel and diming me to death, running the bases, advancing runners. And that's the way Dierkes wants his club.
Runner goes, a swing and a miss. The throw is not going to be in time. Quesco winds up at second base, but we have an interference call against the hitter Lopez. And that will be the third out. Bobby Cox out to argue it, and here's the interference.
Lopez comes all the way around with his bat, and according to Larry Vanover, says that he tripped Eusebio. It doesn't matter if it's intentional or accidental. If the hitter does interfere with the umpire, then the call is made.
But the Braves pick up a run after losing Chipper Jones at the plate. And this game is tied through 4 from Atlanta, 1-1. The Astros catcher Tony Eusebio tripped over the end of the bat from Lopez after Klesko appeared to have the base stolen.
Watch the backswing. Just catches his foot. You see Eusebio trips over it. Vanover saw that and made the call. I think if this were basketball, they'd say no harm, no foul, ticky-tack. But it did cause him to alter the throw. For the Braves, though, Klesko had the base stolen regardless. That's the bad thing for Atlanta.
So Darryl Kyle leads off. Strike 1. Kyle then the top of the order, Biggio and Abreu. Upstairs.
So Vanover had 2 key calls in the inning. Might have missed the one on Chipper Jones, but you can see in the replay that Eusebio's footwork was affected by the backswing of Lopez. And again, the key on the interference. It doesn't have to be intentional. It's just whether he interferes with the throw of the catcher.
The game is tied 1-1 as we play in the 5th inning. Eusebio doing the catching. He caught Kyle over in Houston when he pitched against this club. There's a drive deep to left. Klesko back and just in front of the track makes the catch. And Darryl Kyle, not known for his hitting, gave that one a little bit of a ride, but Klesko had room and grabbed it.
See the lights. Appears nobody's had problems except for Gonzalez on the low line drive. Like Darryl Kyle, who does have a couple of home runs in his career, excuse me, got a pretty good piece of that. It appears anything hit very high to left field is being held up. said, man, I hit that ball good. I thought this was a launching pad.
Well, they talked about the other ballpark and where the ball carried over there. And the altitude of Atlanta is something that sometimes is overlooked. It's a little higher than some people think. So it's going to be interesting to see as the schedule continues here in this ballpark how the ball actually will carry and whether that wind turns out to be prevailing and a factor. One strike to count on Biggio.
Fulton County was 1,010 feet. The new park is 1,008.
And it's made a big difference so far.
That 2 feet got Darryl Kyle that time.
Biggio chases this one. He's down on the count. 2 strikes. Biggio opened the third with a base hit and then scored on the double by the rookie Abreu. That cap headed to short. Allows it with a nice hop and makes a routine play.
The pitch that made that at bat for Denny Nagel was the fastball he blew by Biggio on the 1-1 pitch. And then all of a sudden he had to get the bat tuned up. He went changeup on him. He was way out in front.
They're out at the restaurant here called the Chop House, as you might expect, here with the Braves in Atlanta. A little terrace out there watching from just beyond right center.
One thing the Chop House features is 13 television monitors, and they carry every other major league game going on in progress. Not that many being played right now.
Carrying a few other things as well. On the first, McGriff, unassisted for out number 3. We're going into the bottom of the 5th. We're tied 1-1. Astros and the Braves are tied 1-1, moving into the bottom of the 5th. This Sunday, the Astros with Biggio and Bagwell and Derek Bell will take on the Cardinals. Cardinals led by Brian Jordan and Ron Gant. That's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week, 8 Eastern, the Astros and the Cardinals. A slow breaking ball, and Mark Lemke went around strike 1.
They're going to test Bobby Cox's patience tonight. He was out in between innings talking to Vanover again. And of course, everybody's keeping an eye on the interaction between the umpires, players, and managers this year. Did it surprise you Lou Piniella got kicked out last night?
Oh, a grab by Biggio at second base on the line drive by Lemke. Well, Lou's usually so mild-mannered to begin with tonight. I'm not sure what was so out of the ordinary with that dance step that he came up with.
Biggio, Gold Glover the last 2 years. A lot of people feel Brett Boone in Cincinnati and Mark Lemke here should be deserving of consideration. But Biggio's won it the last 2 years.
Jeff Blauser, and he takes one down. Ball 1. A run, 5 hits for Houston. A run, 2 hits for Atlanta. Curveball misses. And it's 2-0. Braves won the series opener last night 4-2. Another fly ball, this time toward left center, and Derek Bell is there to make the catch. So Blauser with 2 fly balls, 0 for 2 tonight.
Jeff had a good pitch to hit. 2 balls, no strikes. Just not quite there with the timing.
He's the senior Brave now in terms of longevity. He's been here since July of '87. There's Denny Nagel.
Well, one of the reasons people who follow baseball on a regular basis have never minded the Braves' success is they really have some good guys on this team. Blauser and Lemke are right at the top of the list. I mean, they just love baseball. They study the history of it. They know the game. And this club reveres the game of baseball. Guys like Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz. It is a good group of guys.
Glavine worked last night. There's a little tap. Kyle off the mound to make the play, and the throw to first. A 1-2-3 inning. The bottom 3 in the order. On to the 6th. Derek Bell is due to hit second. down that ball earlier on the warning track. Tie game. Astros won. The Braves won here in Atlanta. Tuesday, April 15th, ESPN pleased to present the Jackie Robinson 50th anniversary tribute. President Clinton expected to be on hand to make a special presentation to Rachel Robinson commemorating the 50th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking baseball's color line. The Jackie Robinson 50th anniversary tribute comes up Tuesday, April 15th at 7:30 Eastern.
We got a wild hot dog rapper. Finally, Derek Bell is going to go out and control it. Every time Nagel got ready to wind up, Bagwell would call time, and Derek goes and grabs.
So now Nagel's set, and so is Bagwell. Bagwell, 1 out of 2 for the night. Takes a look at that one as it remains wide. Ball 1. Baseball commemorating the 50th anniversary of that great event. Again, April 15th on ESPN. More to commemorate this year. Jackie Robinson. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fly ball. He got it in on him. And Klesko makes the catch.
Talked about Bagwell hitting well when he stays in that crouch. Stayed down fairly well, but raised up just a tad. And when he does that, it causes his head to move a bit. And that's when Jeff does have some problems.
Now the cleanup hitter, Derek Bell, who has a couple of ground balls, 0 for 2 tonight. Nagel tried to start him wide and picked up the strike zone, but he missed outside. Upstairs. A 2 ball, no strike count. Astros open. Taking 2 out of 3 at home from the Braves. And swept the St. Louis Cardinals 3 straight. That's something they were not able to do, not sweep the Cardinals, but beat them 3 times last year. There's a strike, and the count is 2-1.
Well, the year before, they couldn't beat Cincinnati. They went 2-11, and Cincinnati won the division title. 2-11 against St. Louis last year, and the Cardinals won the title. So they got one monkey off their back with that series with St. Louis, but we'll get a chance to see it again this Sunday. Sunday Night Baseball, as they have a 4-game set in St. Louis. Larry Dierker, he is getting his baptism under fire.
Yes, he is.
First 20 games the Astros play, 18 of them are against the teams that played in postseason in the National League last year. That would be the Cardinals, the Braves, the Dodgers, and the Padres. Only a 2-game homestand with Montreal sandwiched in between. So Larry said, we're going to find out what this team is made of early.
Full count, 3-2. Shot back into center field, strong enough to get it in there for a base hit. Bell has his first hit. 1 on, 1 out here in the 6th for Gonzalez. Tour continues all around the park. You'll see little spots like that. 499 from home plate. That's out beyond center field.
Tour, you and I were standing last night kind of looking into those lights. We were standing right behind Kenny Lofton. Used to be how far it was in Yankee Stadium, the left center, 457.
Now Gonzalez. This one is down, ball 1. Gonzalez with a double in the 2nd inning. When you look up and down this lineup, the leadoff man Biggio has a base hit. He has scored the run. Abreu has a double. The number 2 hitter Bagwell has a base hit. Bell now with a single. Gonzalez with a double. And Sabio will be next, has a base hit to account for the 6 Houston runs.
Bell led the National League in stolen base percentage last year at 90.3%. But he doesn't have much of a lead against Nagel right now.
The count is 2-0.
29 out of 32 for Derek Bell last year.
Over the first. And again, the story on Nagel, he can take a little time unloading the ball, but he also can show you a pretty good move. So you have to know what you're doing if you're going to run on it. Bell leaning back a little bit that time as he throws a strike to Gonzalez.
Kind of interesting with Nagel, with guys like Biggio and Bagwell in the lineup, especially Bagwell, but Nagel's had 2 conferences with Lopez with Gonzalez at the plate. He's aware that Luis Gonzalez has hit him very well over the career. He's still trying to figure out a way to get him out on a consistent basis.
Well, right on the bag with that toss.
See, Derek Bell, he's got the pants up tonight. He's 1 for 3. If he does anything real big, he'll wear the pants high again tomorrow, and then when he takes an offer, they go back down around the ankles. He's just a little superstitious, in addition to honoring the Negro Leagues by wearing the pants up like that.
Nagel again back off the mound, pitching in this tie game in the 6th.
That's been a pretty good Little League team they had down in Tampa with Derek Bell and Gary Sheffield on the same club.
Yep. Well, Gonzalez played in the Tampa area as well. There's more and more. A lot of big leaguers out of that Tampa area. Upstairs. The count goes to 3-1 on Gonzalez. Bagwell hit the fly ball to left. Bell muscle the base hit to center. And Gonzalez is up in the count 3-1. He draws the walk. But Gonzalez is on for the 2nd time. Pushing Bell up to 2nd.
Well, both pitchers have been pretty much on their game tonight. The Astros have more hits against Nagel, but each side a walk hurt them. The one guy they walked eventually scored. In the Braves case, it was a replacement runner. Chipper Jones actually got on, but instead of getting the double play ball, he was out at the plate when McGriff made it. But the walk hurt.
Now Eusebio. He was limited last year because of injuries. Just 1 home run. Found himself in 58 games, but hit 270. And this pitch is down. Has a base hit tonight against Nagel. 5 out of 9 against the Atlanta left-hander.
Well, the 2 most popular injuries, it seems anymore, are rib cage pulls and the hamate bone. And the hamate bone is something a lot of people didn't know about until a guy named Roger Maris came along. And Maris was having problems for about 6 weeks. They couldn't diagnose it. Finally did. All of a sudden, sports medicine doctors figured out that that was a pretty important thing for hitters.
And the strike. So the count is 1-1 on Eusebio. And that's what one of the problems Eusebio had last year was that hamate bone. Prior to that, he had a cyst on his left wrist that he had worked on. Thought he was back from that and was for a little while until he broke the hamate bone. 2 balls and a strike.
I thought the amazing one, Dewayne, last year was Ken Griffey Jr. only missing 20 games with a bone in his wrist that he had removed. Generally, when you fracture that bone, you cannot repair it. The surgeons just have to go in and take it out.
That's a foul ball just outside of the bag.
Well, again, that inside-out stroke of Eusebio's, that's a good base hit stroke. Right-handed batters who have that generally hit for a fairly high average. Brings the hands in and then goes opposite field and just missed, hitting it inside the line. I think Fred McGriff, he just walked over and talked to Lemke. I think McGriff said, I'm going to play a little closer to the bag. Fred's about a step closer to the line than he was, so he let his second baseman Lemke know that.
Here's the 2-2. And And a liner into right. That's going to be a fair ball. One hop to Tucker, and the bases will be loaded. Bell had to stop at third. They're loaded with one out. And before the rookie Russ Johnson steps in, let's go to Gary Miller in the studio. Gary?
Dewayne, a quick update from the Kingdome where Seattle's slaughter continues. Paul Osmacher in to get the lefty, and Paul Sorrento gets him. A solo shot. Russell Davis had homered earlier. They have tied Cleveland for the major league lead with 15 home runs now. They're up 9-0. Back to you.
Now the former Yankee farmhand and third baseman Russ Davis into the act with the home run. Here, a conference on the mound for the Braves as the Astros have the bases loaded and only one out. Nagel in a spot. The bullpen is busy. Embry is the left-hander, and Brad Ponce the right-hander.
You know, we mentioned about
over from the Indians.
We mentioned about McGriff talking to Lemke. Lemke really prides himself on defensive positioning. In fact, he meets with every starting pitcher before a ball game and goes over the hitters. Wants to know how the hitters are going to try to pitch certain guys so he can position himself accordingly.
So they're loaded, one out, and here is the third baseman Russ Johnson, who picked up his first big league hit last night, a base hit the other way. And he takes the ball.
Nagel obviously wants the ground ball to try to turn two. That was not a good pitch. It was upstairs.
Johnson had a good spring. Found himself playing at the AAA level and rips this one into left center field for a base hit. Bell scores. Gonzalez on his way to the plate. Eusebio to third, and into second base goes Johnson, who chases home two to give Houston a 3-1 lead.
Dewayne, I know both of us have been impressed with this youngster the last two nights. He hit the ball pretty well against Tommy Glavine last night. In addition to the hit, he lined out. He hit a line out today. He does not look like he's scared. Nagel got behind 1-0. Looks like he went with a changeup. But Johnson just went down and got it. He stayed back on it very well. He was probably thinking up the middle right center. Klesko tried to head it off, overran it. And then Kenny Lofton had to police it up. Apparently have called that a double all the way and 2 RBIs for Johnson.
And that's going to be it for Nagel. So the double by Johnson, chasing home a couple runs, makes it 3-1. So Nagel will depart as Bobby Cox goes to his bullpen. Houston up by 2. Brad Clance is the new pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. Houston grabbing 2 runs here in the 6th to take a 3-1 lead.
One of the interesting situations for the Braves, despite the great starting pitching that they have, last year their bullpen, Clance, McMichael, and Wohlers, all worked at least 77 more times or more. And that's one thing Bobby Cox wants to try to eliminate this year, because those guys, especially Clance and McMichael, wore down at the end of the year.
So the runners, as Nagel has been lifted, Eusebio at third, and the double by Johnson chased Nagel from the game, giving Houston this 2-run lead. The 2 men on still responsible, still accountable, to be held accountable to Nagel. There's a line drive to short. Bogart jumped on the first pitch and lines it to the shortstop Blauser. That's the second out.
You know, Denny Nagel, an interested watcher. That's his runners. Blauser right at him. So Bogart denied on a line drive right at Jeff Blauser.
So now the pitcher. Those of you just joining us, welcome to Turner Field in Atlanta. Wayne Staats and Dave Campbell. The Astros with 2 runs in the 6th have taken a 3-1 lead. Denny Nagel has been knocked out of the box. Brad Clance on as he faces Darryl Kyle, the Houston pitcher. And there's a strike. 1-1. Eusebio reached on a base hit, went to third on the double by Johnson. Johnson's 2-base hit chased home the runs, Bell and Gonzalez. A 2-1 count. Braves were winners last night by 2, trail by 2 at the moment. And a strike.
Johnson appears to be one of those kind of guys that can help you in a lot of different ways. He was a hero to all the other players on the Astros this spring. Their bus broke down. He happens to have some mechanical skills. He fixed it, so his new nickname is Bus.
2-2 is chopped to the right side, and Lemke will handle that one. Astros are finished in the 6th, but they pick up 2 runs. Braves will have the top of their order coming in the bottom of the 6th inning. Lofton set to lead it off. The score 3-1 Houston.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Hayworth Office Furniture. Hayworth, furniture for what's next.
From Atlanta, Turner Field. Fans enjoying a cool evening of baseball here. The Astros and the Braves headed into the bottom of the 6th. Cool for Atlanta, warm for the rest of the country perhaps. Temperature 64 when we started play. Cool enough to allow Darryl Kyle to blow into that pitching hand. He'll face the top of the order in the bottom of the 6th inning.
That's where Kenny Lofton's got to earn his money. The Braves need a start to this inning, and it's about as good as there is at getting on base.
Lofton twice has gone out short to first. Into the dirt, ball 1.
If Kenny maybe tries to lay a bunt down, he looked like he was just going to take a pitch there.
Johnson playing third, close, and there's the bunt attempt. Kyle off the mound, throws against his momentum wide as Bagwell leads the bag to come up with the throw.
Kenny Lofton's just one of those kind of guys. You can play right down his throat. He's got enough confidence in his bunting. He bunted this one right down off home plate. Now, I don't think he tried to do that, but once it hit home plate, no chance. You see Bill Verdon telling Lofton he bunted it right down off the plate. Once this thing goes airborne, Darryl Kyle just should have eaten the ball because he didn't have a shot. Great play by Bagwell, keep it from going down the right field line.
Well, that's a dimension that Lofton gives this club. The Braves had 83 steals total last year, and Lofton with the Indians had 75 by himself. Now Michael Tucker. And he takes a pitch for a ball.
It can be one of the interesting things for the Braves in their lineup. Tucker was going to take a pitch there. They're kind of looking for a number 2 hitter who can have some patience. Martin Lemke, who batted number 2 last night, is not a guy that works deep in the count. And if you have a great base stealer, you need a number 2 hitter that'll take some pitches for you.
This one is down.
Often think back to the year Lou Brock stole 118. I mean, Ted Sizemore was hitting number 2. Never cared whether he had 2 strikes or not. He would go 4, 5, 6 pitches into the count and give Brock the pitch to run on. And that's such a key for a base stealer.
Lofton aboard with a bunt single, and Kyle has fallen behind Tucker.
This is a situation where Kenny really needs to run. I didn't know John Travolta pitched in the big leagues.
He dresses better than Travolta, too.
Yes, he does.
Style master all the way. Strike 3 on the inside corner to retire the side. 1, 2, 3, they go. The Braves will have Lofton, Tucker, and Chipper Jones. Jones doubled home 2 in the 6th inning to tie this game, coming up in the bottom of the 8th.
Attention race fans, see the cars and stars of the United Speed Alliance Racing Hooters Cup Series on Saturday night, April 12th, 7 p.m. at Orange County Speedway for the 84.
Kenny Lofton leads off. The first pitch from Darryl Kyle misses, ball 1. Russ Johnson plays close again at third. I don't know if you can get close enough with Lofton. 2-0 the count.
Well, he's moved in considerably since the bunt last time. Let's see if Kenny's thinking about it. He knows he's probably going to get a fastball here. Kyle doesn't want to walk him. Lofton's got two options. Try to crank one or drag a bunt up the right side.
This is the 100th pitch of the night thrown by Kyle, and it's in there for a strike.
Looked like he wanted to drag the bunt up towards Biggio at second. He was looking for a pitch on the inside and then just took it when it was out away from him.
Bouncing ball right side. Biggio's there. So they get Lofton. Lofton, a key man in last night's Atlanta win, and a big part with that bunt single in the 6th, getting them started to tie the game tonight.
Kyle has crossed the century mark in pitches thrown. That was his 101st. That was maybe his biggest out of the night right there. Lofton gets on. Too many things can happen for Houston, all of them bad.
And there's Tucker. High popper, a mile into the air. Biggio is making the call and the catch. Tucker, great power, a big swing on that one, and a big league pop-up.
Craig was saying, where were you? He's telling Bagwell. That was always my modus operandi on those type of pop-ups. Whoever my first baseman was, I was always yelling, yours.
Bagwell shakes his head, not me.
That wind's too tricky up there.
A couple of gold gloves over there anyway. Take the pick. Chipper Jones, ball 1. It was the double by Jones. The double into left. It tied the game in the 6th. 2-0 the count.
You know, Chipper's going to look zone right here. He's going to look away or in. And he's got one thing in mind, and that's to try to jerk one here.
Up in the count. 2 balls, no strikes. 3-0.
Might get a green light here. 1 run would look huge. Why not let him have a crack at it? 30 home runs a year ago.
It's in there for a strike.
Not what he was looking for there. Kyle did not throw a fastball down the middle.
3-1, a bouncer over the mound. Biggio kind of in between, and a nice play, but the throw's not in time. Bagwell dug it out, and Jones has an infield hit.
Craig was playing him over. He had a long ways to run, and then off balance throw. He couldn't get very much on it. I think he threw kind of a palm ball over there. Yeah, you can see he didn't get his 2 fingers on the ball, so it's like a changeup. That's the way a pitcher would throw it, all his fingers on the ball. Sometimes it just comes that way when you're grabbing the ball and trying to hurry. Biggio throws a nice palm ball to Bagwell, and Chipper beats it out.
So now Kyle will have to face Fred McGriff. McGriff singled and scored in the 4th.
Again, this is a case where some managers might bring in a left-hander to pitch to McGriff, but A, Fred hit left-handers very well a year ago, and B, Durker wants to give his starter a chance to win the game.
There goes Jones to throw to second, and he is safe.
Whoa!
Chipper Jones
thought he had him.
Safe at second. Bogart came up as if they had him. Thought they had him, but safe the call.
Fairly good jump by Chipper. Eusebio throws a P to second base right on the money. Watch Chipper's hand. Close play. Eusebio loads it up.
1-0 the count to the hitter as Jones steals his way into second base.
That was a great tag by Bogart, too. It was a quick tag. Even on slow motion.
And a great pickup by Eusebio. And that saved another advance. Counts 2-0. The Braves trying trying to make the most of this infield hit by Jones and the stolen base. Off the plate in, 3-0. Third, that ball stays down, and Johnson bounces away from him, and everybody's safe. Jones goes to third as McGriff reaches as the ball pops away, and that'll be an error charge to Johnson.
Well, Kyle has done everything he could in the inning, but his infield has let him down a little bit. McGriff going the other way, had a lot of spin on it. And right now with Ryan Klesko coming up, who hits about 80 points lower against left-handed pitching, Dierker may have to go to the bullpen, despite the fact he'd love to leave Kyle in there. But we'll see.
Yep, Dierker, being the former pitcher, I'm sure in his heart would like to stay with him. But Klesko murders right-handed pitching.
I think he's talking to Kyle also. I mean, it looks to us that Kyle's stuff is still very good. He's also maybe talking about if the Braves try some kind of a double steal if they get 2 strikes on Klesko. But Larry having to make a tough decision.
And he's going to stay with him. He's going to stay with him.
Well, again, that's the decisions that make or break managers. But Larry knows that he wants to get his starters deeper into the game. He's not going to be one of these robot left-right guys. He feels Kyle's stuff is still good enough, and we'll find out.
Well, here's the opportunity for Kyle to step up, something we talked about earlier in the game, and Dierker talked about the philosophy. Ultimately, it's going to be in the player's hand, and now a tough assignment for Kyle as he faces Klesko. 0-1 inside.
Interesting strategy. Jeff Bagwell's playing well behind McGriff. They want to cut down that hole between first and second. I'm sure that's one of the things Larry talked about as well. If McGriff takes off, they'll give it to him, but he wants to try to keep the hit away from Klesko.
2 balls, no strikes.
The other thing is, if McGriff goes ahead and steals second, that would open up first base, and they would walk Klesko and get to Lopez. So probably McGriff, they're telling him don't run. Bagwell's just inviting him to run.
And a line drive into left field. Gonzalez makes the catch. He runs down the line drive, and the Braves lead 2 men on. They do not score, and we're headed into the 9th. This game is tied 3-3. Tied 3-3, headed into the 9th inning. Bobby Cox calls upon his 4th pitcher of the night. Paul Bird comes on. Bird worked an inning, gave up a couple of hits Saturday against Chicago. And with Bird coming into the game, he will go into the 5th spot. Tucker moves in to play left field, switching over from right. Klesko lifted, and Andrew Jones is the new right fielder, so Jones is in there. Those are the changes for the Braves and Bobby Cox as we head into the 9th. Tim Bogar is due to lead off for Houston, but the Astros will go to their bench, and we're going to see Spires come out. Bill Spires to pinch hit.
Thomas Howard has moved into the on-deck circle, so they often say the first 6 to 7 innings go on to the players, the last couple to the managers, so the wheels are in motion. Rather be lucky than good. Klesko couldn't hit the ball any harder, but Luis Gonzalez made a good catch.
And here's Spires. 273. Spires wound up playing all over the place for Houston last year and was a valuable member of their club coming off the bench, and was part of a pretty good bench this year.
making notes. A lot of times managers do that just so they can refresh themselves after the game. They want to talk to players about certain things.
This one is down. Now ball and a strike. There's Thomas Howard on deck. Word came to the Braves from the New York Mets. He was in the Greg McMichael trade. 2 balls and a strike. There's John Hudek throwing in the bullpen for Houston. Pitcher spot due next, and as we saw, Thomas Howard is already on deck. And 3-1.
Well, we mentioned the Astro mid-relief is somewhat of a question mark, but with John Hudek and Billy Wagner out there, they got some guys at the end that can bring some fire.
And Spires draws the walk. And the Astros get the leadoff man on. Spires off the bench to pinch hit. He has drawn the base on balls. Howard comes on.
Well, Larry has another decision to make. He's got Howard. Does he bunt the pinch hitter, play for getting Spires down to second base? Or does he let him have a crack at it? One thing about the Astros, in those first 7 games, almost every game has been close.
Spires at first.
Sometimes you draw a throw over in that situation just to see if the batter will tip off whether he's bunting or not.
And it's down, ball 1. Howard signed on as a free agent in December with Houston. And he was also part of a possible insurance plan in center field if the switch with Derek Bell did not pan out. And he gives them some depth and versatility to the bench.
Well, Howard's got to look for a pitch where he can utilize the right side of the diamond here. He's ahead 2-0. McGriff holding the runner. So if you can get the ball into right field and Spires gets any kind of a break, despite Andrew Jones's great arm, you got a chance to play first and third here.
And he takes a strike. 2-1. Well, he was good coming off the bench for the Reds last year. He's .393 as a pinch hitter, 11 out of 27 for Cincinnati. Bird misses wide. So after walking Spires, he's now behind Howard 3-1.
Another decision. Do you run him 3-1? Spires not a guy with big speed. Howard does not have to swing if it's ball 4.
Spires is going, and the pitch is hit on the ground to the right side. The runner will advance as Lemke goes to first. So that's the first out. The runner moves into scoring position. Coming up following our game, 10:30 Eastern Time start will be the Yankees and the Angels. David Wells and Alan Watson scheduled to be the starters in that one. Game 2 of our Wednesday night doubleheader here on ESPN. The Yankees and the Angels. Some will see the Pittsburgh and San Diego game. Meanwhile, we have a tie game going here in Atlanta, and Craig Biggio steps in for the Astros. We're in the ninth, 3-3. Spires at second. Biggio takes a strike.
Dewayne, one of the things that veteran baseball people will tell you, we all know about pitchers going into slumps, hitters in slumps, fielders can go into slumps, managers go into slumps. They make the same moves day in and day out, but sometimes you go 2 weeks at a time where everything works for you, and 2 weeks later, every decision you make backfires. Right now, Durker started the runner 3-1 and stayed out of the double play.
Johnson's fouled out of play, and he stayed with the pitcher Kyle in the 8th, and Pesco was retired on a well-hit ball, but Gonzalez made the catch.
Talk to Bobby Cox. I've seen Bobby, every decision he makes absolutely works. And the same guy makes the same decision 2 weeks later, and everything backfires. It's what the players do on the field.
Biggio down to Bird, 2 strikes, 0 for 5 against Bird lifetime. Just a piece of that one to stay alive.
One of the things Larry understands, though, is when he talked to us at length and he's talked to reporters, he said this is a player's game. And I want to give my players more freedom to make decisions on their own. And if a pitcher's tired, I want him to tell me. If Biggio wants to put on a hit and run, I'm going to let him do that. I'm not going to control the running game. If I got a veteran pitcher out there, he's got a sense of what he wants to do. So, I mean, sometimes this is not brain surgery. Some guys make it that way.
And a foul ball out of play. And sometimes it's just as painful.
Larry hasn't had to consult the analyst yet. He said, "Come on, this is great. I get to sit down in the dugout and watch a game." He says, "You guys got to go upstairs and work." He was giving Dewayne and I a ration today.
Runner at second base is Spires. He opened with a pinch hit walk, moved to second when they started the runner, and Howard bounced it to the right side. Biggio pops it toward the line and right. Jones on the run. That ball is going to be out of reach and no play.
Well, I don't know if that's a case where the close stands came into play, because the ball was hooking away from Andrew Jones anyway. And he got a pretty good jump on it, but even in the old ballpark, I'm not sure Andrew could have gotten there. He's coming fairly hard. Well, he might have. He had to slow down to slide. In the old park, Fulton County Stadium, a lot of room in foul territory. That would have been in the bullpen in the old ballpark. Here, a little more hitter friendly, at least in foul territory.
So Biggio continues to stay alive against Bird after getting down 0-2. Into left. Going to hang up for Tucker, who makes the catch. Snap throw back to second. And the Spires is back in there.
Good job by Bird. Biggio was protecting the plate and fouled off about 4 or 5 pitches, but Bird did not give in and give him anything good to hit.
Now it's going to be Bird against Bob Abreu.
Spires didn't have a real good read initially, but he was able to get back before Tucker's throw made it.
So Spires still at second base. 2 outs in the 9th. The Braves are due to lead off the bottom of the 9th with Lopez, and then Lindsey, who's had some problem with the glove there. Consulting Jerry Crawford helped tie that thing off.
A little rawhide broke loose. I'm just going, that's my tool. Gotta have that.
Coming up this Sunday, the Astros with Craig Biggio, Jeff Bagwell, and Derek Bell take on the Cardinals with Brian Jordan and slugger Ron Gant. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week. The Astros and the Cardinals, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN. Abreu drove in a run with a double in the 3rd. Biggio retired for the 2nd out, and here's the rookie outfielder. Too low, ball 1. This young man had a good spring at over 350. Stays away, and it's 2-0. Astros 2 of 11 with men in scoring position tonight.
Abreu, a good-looking young hitter, but you got a guy on deck that knocked in 120 last year, so I don't think you pitch around Abreu yet.
Away from him again, 3-0. All 3 Houston runs were charged to the Atlanta starter Nagel. Clowns, Pilecki, and now Bird.
I think Bobby Cox is saying the same thing. I hope he isn't pitching around this guy to get the Bagwell.
And he walked him. How about that? 2 walks in the inning, and it's going to be Bagwell and Bird. They've never faced each other. And Bagwell on that outside of the on-deck circle was riveted to the delivery of Bird, watching him as he pitched to Abreu. First and second, 2 gone. Bagwell's hit came back in the first. And ball down.
One of the situations that hurt the Astros a year ago. They had a 2.5-game lead on August 29th. They went 0-12 on the road in September. They lost yesterday in their first road game, and one of the reasons was lack of clutch hitting. They got to get off the schneid as far as these road games go.
Bagwell takes a strike. It's 1-1. Embry, he's been busy all night in that Atlanta bullpen.
Tell the guys I should get a save. 4th time up.
Lofton's bunt single set up the 2-run 6th, and the Braves tied this game. It's too close. And the count is 2-1.
Still think that's one of the reasons scoring is so high anymore. I don't understand how umpires can set up on the inside corner, and they very rarely call that pitch, but they call the one about an inch off the outside corner a strike, the one they can't see as well. But hitters just dive in, and that's one of the reasons run scoring is so much higher.
This one is in there for a strike. And the count squares 2-2. The Braves left 2 men on in the bottom of the 8th inning. And the Astros have 2 men aboard here in the 9th. Spires at second, Abreu at first, and a 2-2 count to Bagwell. Bagwell is out on strikes. Bird gets him to retire the side. Houston leads 2. They do not score. Bottom of the 9th coming, tied at 3.
It's time. Now? But I'm in the middle of a movie.
Left 2 men on base. It was Bird and Bagwell. And Bird got the better of this confrontation with a big strikeout for the Braves.
Well, again, it appears Bagwell is not seeing the ball real well. That's something that happens to him a lot early in the season. Slider just disappeared, and Bagwell really did not have a good swing and did not have a good at bat.
So we go into the bottom of the 9th, tied 3-3. Bird a couple of walks in that inning, but he managed to get the strikeout when he needed it to retire the side. And in the bottom of the 9th, the Atlanta catcher Javi Lopez will lead off. The Astros have made some changes. Spires stays on at short, and John Hudek makes his 3rd appearance of the year after Kyle worked the front 8.
Well, Darryl Kyle has pitched awfully well in his first 2 starts to have an 0-1 record. He'll get a no decision tonight. Bill Spires, who got that lead walk, stays in at shortstop.
Hudek and Lopez. Tied bottom of the 9th. Lopez hit into a double play to end the 6th. That's when the Braves tied the game, pushing across 2 runs. And the first pitch is a ball.
Most of the time tonight, when pitchers have worked around hitters to get to the next guy, it's paid off. That doesn't always happen, but it has this evening.
Hudek There's that one upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes.
Pretty apparent that Kyle pitched around Ryan Klesko back in the 6th inning to get to Lopez, and then got the double play ball. And Bird evidently pitched around Abreu to get the Bagwell.
Headed to short, charged by Spires, and the throw to first. So they get the first out on the ground ball off the bat of Lopez. Coming up, following our game, Game 2 of the Wednesday night doubleheader, Yankees and the Angels from Anaheim Stadium. David Wells for New York, Alan Watson for Anaheim. Mark Lemke. Lemke is nothing of 3. Pitcher first his last time. Hitting 190 for the year. Hudek's pitch is in there for a strike. Two balls and a strike. Hudek worked in relief against the Braves over in Houston in their opening series. This one is foul, out of play. Lemke with just a limited number of plate appearances against Hudek, including a couple of walks. Officially 1 out of 2 lifetime against the Houston reliever. And has worked the count to 3-2. Lemke up there with Jeff Blauser on deck. Blauser hitless tonight after coming in with 8 consecutive hits. And there's a walk, so Lemke draws the base on ball. Vern Rule is on his way to the mound. Blauser is going to be the hitter. And we're going to have a runner. Lemke is leaving at first base. Rule talks it over with his battery, Eusebio and Hudek.
Lemke will leave for Tony Graffinino, a pinch runner at first base. Graffinino, who had a big spring training for the Atlanta Braves. Lemke has had hamstring problems. He missed a couple of games over the weekend. I don't know that Graffinino has blazing speed more than Mark, but with a hamstring and a cold night here in Atlanta. The fact that Graffinino is a second baseman by trade, he'll just make a straight up switch there and pinch run Tony Graffinino.
And here we go. Blauser against Hudek. 2 out of 3 lifetime against the Houston reliever. And the first pitch is a strike. Blauser hitting .481. On deck is Andrew Jones. He's hitting out of the 9th spot and playing right field. Off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hudek following Darryl Kyle, who worked 8 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 runs. Hudek got the first man Lopez, then walked Lemke. Lemke lifted for the pinch runner Graffinino. Blauser could not stop, and he's behind in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
First time Jeff has pulled off a breaking ball in the last 2 ball games. Started to go. He just didn't recognize the spin. Thought it was fastball until the last second.
Hudek got him. A strike on the corner. Blauser caught looking. It's only the 2nd strikeout for Houston pitching tonight. Kyle had 1 while he was in there.
paint job by Hudek. Like we said, they won't call the inside pitch, but they'll call the one an inch or so off the outside.
2 gone with a man at first. With Dave Campbell, Dewayne Staats from Atlanta, Turner Field, bottom of the ninth, tied 3-3. Jones up there for the first time. Pitch blocked by Eusebio, ball 1. The Astros scored in the 3rd. Atlanta answered with a run in the 4th. Houston 2 runs in the 6th. Braves 2 in their 6th to tie. That's how we stand in the bottom of the 9th. Foul ball. Jones took a rip.
Graffinino had a bit of a break off first. Fairly decent situation for manager Bobby Cox. You start Graffinino, gets thrown out. You got Andrew Jones leading off the bottom of the 10th, followed by Kenny Lofton and Tucker.
There goes the runner. The pitch is down, and the throw is up. A stolen base for Graffinino.
But Graffinino, who made a false break the time before, didn't have the greatest jump, and probably with a good throw would have been out. Andrew Jones now with a base hit could win it. Tough pitch for Eusebio to handle. Slider in the dirt. I don't know. Maybe a perfect throw right on the bag might have gotten him, but Hudek a fairly slow delivery.
Now the 2-1 outside. Jones hitless last night, but ahead on the count 3-1 with Lofton due next. So Jones should be looking for a good pitch here, and it's down. Oh, the walk. Lofton will bat here in the 9th inning with 2 men on and 2 men out. Lofton bunted back in the 6th inning for his only hit of the night. He's 1 for 4, but that was a big hit. It started the 2-run 6th. That's when the Braves tied it. Graffinino out at second base in this tie game, bottom of the 9th. And around the feet, ball 1.
So Kenny Lofton, the Atlanta Braves fans know is a great player, but they also love Marquise Grissom. Grissom from this area. I'm sure Kenny's going to win him over in time here, but a good start would be get a game-winning hit right here.
Lofton back in there against Hudek. Ball 2. 2-0.
Gap in right center. They figure Lofton won't get around on Hudek, but he may at 2-0.
On a ground ball. That's Biggio to second. This fires for the 4th, and we're going to go into extra innings. Both teams lead 2 in the 9th, and on to the 10th, tied 3-3.
Back half of our doubleheader, Joe Torre's Yankees wrapping up their season-beginning road trip. Bernie Williams will be hitting 3rd against Alan Watson, the Angels, after we conclude in Atlanta.
And on we go into the 10th here. So stay with us for the second half of the Wednesday night doubleheader. And meanwhile, Tony Graffinino stays on to play second base for the Braves, and Derek Bell will open the 10th. Takes the first pitch up a little bit close, ball 1. Bell has 1 hit tonight. That base hit came in the 6th when he scored. Swings through this one. The count is 1-1. Each team left 2 men in the 9th inning. A couple of walks, but they left them aboard. On to the 10th. There's a high fly ball back into center. Lofton now with the wind taking it stiff toward right center makes the catch. This is the second extra inning game for Houston this year. They beat the Cardinals and then sweep of St. Louis in the second series of the year. Now Luis Gonzalez. Gonzalez has been on twice. He walked in the 6th inning and scored. Doubled his first time. Ball 1. Gonzalez, 271 with the Cubs last year, 418 this spring, and is hitting over 300 here in the early stages of this year. Let that one rip. Came up empty, 1-1.
One of the things that happens when you get to extra innings or late in games, some guys try to hit the long one, and sometimes we play 16 innings by overswinging.
Missed. Close. 2-1. Nagle, Clance, Pilecki, and Bird. Gonzalez took that one over and checked low. 3 balls, 1 strike.
Louis may be looking to take another good rip here.
He draws the walk. He took 1 good rip and then looked him over and draws the base on balls. 1 on, 1 out. Let's check in with Gary Miller.
All right, Dewayne, throughout the night, we've been keeping you posted on the Royals and the Orioles. Baltimore down 2-0 when Hammond's aboard. Through the snowflakes, Chris Hoyles hammers one into the left field corner off Jose Rosado. Hammonds would score, but the Orioles have now gone to the 9th, still down 2-1. Back to you.
And the Royals grabbed the lead in the snow there. How about that? Fans here thought it was cool when the temperature was in the low 60s to start this game. No snow in Atlanta, thank goodness. Tony Eusebio's the hitter. No count on him.
But a good guy to hit and run with. Good contact hitter, inside out swing.
And off the plate a little bit. Ball 1.
Pretty good pitch to stop that inside out swing, too.
Eusebio taking a look down at Mike Cubbage to see if they are thinking about doing something like that. Gonzalez does not go, and the pitch is in for a strike. And the count is 1-1. 1 out walk to Gonzalez in the 10th. Great bullpen tonight. 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, no hits in the 4 innings. 1 out into the 10th now. Upstairs. And we go to 2-1.
Classic hit and run count, classic situation. 1 out, man on first, contact hitter, favorable count.
Cubbage flashing those signs from the coaching spot down to 3rd. The 2-1 runner is going, and the pitch is loop foul back of the Atlanta dugout. So the count is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gonzalez retreats to first base. Yankees and the Angels coming up following our game. We're in extra innings here in Atlanta. Game in Anaheim, second part of our Wednesday doubleheader. Bird has given up 3 of those 4 walks. He pitched an inning in the 3rd and has surrendered 3 walks and a strikeout. He got the big strikeout of Bagwell, and he gets Eusebio reaching for the 2nd out here in the 10th.
Late movement on that slider, and Eusebio, bad swing.
Now the rookie Russ Johnson, who doubled home the 2 runs in the 6th inning. Johnson playing 3rd base tonight. Seeing action with Sean Berry on the disabled list with the groin injury.
A lot of times when the hit and run doesn't work, Eusebio fouling it off. You might want to start Gonzalez here, get a man in scoring position. Sometimes the manager gets a little frustrated that he didn't get him there on the hit and run.
And again over to first, so Bird thinking just that. And to make sure that he doesn't forget about Gonzalez. And a cool, breezy evening in Atlanta at Turner Field tonight. Johnson waiting for the first pitch. Soft down and away, ball one. Crowd of just under 34,000 watching the Astros and the Braves tonight in Atlanta. There goes the runner. The pitch is skied right side foul and will carry out of play. The Astros starting Gonzalez a couple times, once with Eusebio, who fouled it away, and this time with the young hitter Johnson. Johnson really had a good spring, a good enough spring to make this ball club. Well, if he had made it, he was going to be a utility player to start, and they really wanted him to play every day. Two balls and a strike.
Well, we've seen the last two nights. It looks like Johnson has good plate coverage, straightaway type hitter, utilizes right center and left center. Some people still think he'll be their shortstop before it's all over.
The 2-1 as the runner goes. A swing and a miss in the throw. One hops by Blauser, backed up by Graffinino. Gonzalez has a stolen base.
Well, Durker finally gets his man in scoring position. Bird, a fairly slow delivery to the plate. So these are the type of guys you want to run in. High leg kick. Gonzalez about 3 strides before Bird ever gets the plant foot down. Good work by Graffinino to back that play up.
Only the second steal against the Braves this year. Johnson lays off, and the count is full. So here we are again. Bird got Bagwell on that 2-2 pitch with a couple of men on in the 9th inning. And now he's gone to 3-2 on Russ Johnson with Gonzalez at second and 2 outs in the 10th. And Johnson sends it into left center field. On the run, Tucker is there as it hangs up, and he makes the catch to retire the side. A walk and a man left. Bottom of the 10th coming, tied 3-3.
Welcome to the Big A in Anaheim, everybody. Gary Thorne, Joe Morgan. This ball game, the Yankees and the A's just underway. Yankees got a couple of hits in the first inning. Double play ended their scoring chance. And the A's a leadoff walk. Double play turned here. David Wells on the mound against Alan Watson. Wells working for the Yankees. It is scoreless here in the bottom half of the first inning. Let's take you back to the extra inning game. Atlanta, Dwayne and Dave.
All right, thank you, Gary. And a reminder that some of you will see the Pittsburgh at San Diego game. Fans here in Atlanta want to make sure that they don't miss out on any of the action with all those monitors lined up out there. They can keep abreast of all the major leagues activity. Changes for Houston. The Astros have a new pitcher. The lefty, Billy Wagner, follows Hudek. 5th game for Wagner, 3 saves already. And the first pitch to Tucker is too low, ball 1. Wagner with 7 strikeouts, no walks in 4 2/3.
Well, the philosophy against the Braves is whenever possible, use left-handers in relief. You got Tucker. You'd rather have Chipper Jones batting right-handed, and then it goes to McGriff. And Plesko is out of the game now, but he would have been hitting 5th. A lot of times in mid-relief, if you've got some left-handed depth in your bullpen, you can slow this team down, especially late.
Now, quick look at the other changes. Pat Listach is now at shortstop with Spires moving over to play third. Ground ball down to first. Unassisted for Bagwell. That's the first out. It came in at 95 from Wagner.
So this young kid can get it to the plate in a hurry. Chipper Jones will come on. He only hit 6 of his 30 home runs, batting right-handed last year. And checking Bobby Cox's bench, if one of these guys gets on and it gets to the pitcher spot behind McGriff, it would probably be Mike Mordecai.
Chipper's been busy up there, and there's a swing and a miss. And Wagner gets it up there in a hurry. Quickly in front of Chipper Jones, 0-2. Jones out on strikes. The foul tip strikeout. 2 gone. Let's check in with Gary Miller.
Dwayne, an update from Kauffman Stadium. Jose Rosado working on a 2-1 win in the 9th when Rafael Palmeiro hits one a liner through the snowflakes. His second of the year. We've gone to the bottom of the 9th, tied at 2. Back to you.
So that game now tied. Someone here looking for a long one from one of these 2 clubs. Fred McGriff. And the first pitch is in for a strike. We're in the bottom of the 10th in Atlanta. Astros and the Braves are tied 3-3. McGriff down 2 strikes. That's 8 pitches by Wagner, 7 strikes.
All of our fans who watch are rotisserie people. If you haven't got a chance to get Billy Wagner yet, get him. He's got great stuff.
And he strikes out McGriff. McGriff didn't have a chance that time. So we're headed into the 11th. Biggio is due to hit third in the inning for Houston.
Update from San Diego. Tim Worrell facing Kevin Elster. Elster hit 24 home runs last year. That's his first as a Pirate. Some of you will see this game at the conclusion of the extra innings in Atlanta. Pittsburgh up 1-0.
Well, the action cranking up on the West Coast. Vander Holyfield here still sticking around in the 11th inning. Well, now that his championship bout has been postponed, he's got a little extra time on his hands and spinning it out the ballpark. It's coming up now, I guess what, the 28th of June. Bird's still out there. Spires walked as a pinch hitter in the 9th inning and takes the first pitch too high here in the 11th. And this one is upstairs. 2-0. Boy, what a bottom of the 10th for Billy Wagner. He went to work on Jones and McGriff.
Classic good morning, good afternoon, and good night. And McGriff, he dropped 2 hammers on him, then threw him a 96-mile-an-hour fastball around the letters. No chance.
Spires ahead in the count 3-0.
One of the better arms you're going to find in baseball these days.
And a strike. Now 3-1. Bird opening his 3rd inning. 48 total pitches and 26 balls is 22 strikes. Ground ball out to second. Antonino will make the play for the out.
Kind of pitching against conventional wisdom, more balls and strikes, and yet he hadn't allowed a run up on the board.
Pat Listach now hitting out of the 9th spot. Come to the plate for the first time. Listach entering the game in the 10th inning at shortstop. Rounds it back, strike 1. Listach hitting .250. The 92 Rookie of the Year in the American League. 54 stolen bases his rookie year. And that one is fouled out of play. 2 strikes.
Remember who Listash beat out for the rookie of the year? Guy playing center field for the Braves. Kenny Lofton.
Pretty good job. Coming up next, Yankees and the Angels. For an extra innings in Atlanta. Speaking of that game with Gary Thorne and Joe Morgan, Jim Lefebvre beat out Joe Morgan for the Rookie of the Year honors when they came up together. This one is pop foul and out of play. For Listaats, his stint in Houston is close to a return home. He lives in the Houston area, in Louisiana. The Astros hoping that he can settle in at shortstop. But as we mentioned, he might get a little pressure from the young man we saw who played third base for most of this game before this is over. Morris Johnson. We'll see. 2 strikes to count. Ball, 2 strikes.
One luxury that Bobby Cox has very often is he can always look at the next day's starter and go, John Smoltz, I'm not going to worry about my bullpen too much. Get Greg Maddux, maybe make sure your closer doesn't get too much work. It's a nice luxury to have as a manager.
Bouncer down to first, base fair, and McGriff will make the play unassisted. 2 ground balls here. 2 up, 2 down. Now we'll go to the top of the order. Craig Biggio. Well, the Astros have 8 hits, but they haven't had a hit since the 6th when they scored 2 runs, putting together 3 hits and a walk in the mix.
I hope Mike Mordecai, who's probably going to pinch hit and lead off in the bottom half of this inning, is in taking some practice swings because he's going to have to tune up the dial a little bit on Billy Wagner.
Biggio takes a breaking ball. Ball 1.
Mike's got the helmet on. He knows his assignment. Chances are he's been in the batting cages.
Too low. 2-0.
One of the nice luxuries that most of the new ballparks have are those under the stadium batting cages where the pinch hitters can get some work. You sit out here 3+ hours with a biting wind, you need a little bit to get you loose.
Fastball coming back 2-0 to make the count 2 balls and a strike.
Biggio buckled his knees. Looked like he was looking something out over the plate.
Off the plate. And the count is 3-1. Well, saw that ball strike breakdown. Bird not in a hurry to get anywhere. Bobby Cox's expression on his face. He's afraid to look sometimes. 3-2. And Bird's been behind everybody. Now he'll make a 3-2 pitch to Biggio.
70 postseason games Bobby Cox has managed, the most of anybody, and yet close games you still have to take a deep breath once in a while.
And surpassed Casey Stengel. Last ball. 3-2. And there's the walk. So Biggio draws his second walk of the night.
Well, again, Bird, we saw the high leg kick last inning when Gonzalez stole the base. So you figure Biggio somewhere in this count is going to take off. Started the ball in the middle of the plate, but Biggio picked up the rotation on it and laid off.
So 2-out walk. That's his 4th. Fourth given up by Bird in his relief stint. Bob Abreu. Biggio's back in at first. Biggio with 25 steals last year. Ground ball back to the mound. No flip to first, and that will take care of Houston in the 11th. No runs, a walk, and another man left. We go into the bottom of the 11th, 3-3 tie. Bottom of the 11th. Wagner out there on the mound for Houston. It's a tie game, 3-3. Mordecai hitting here to lead it off. 1 ball and 1 strike. Into the dirt. Wagner retired to side an order in the 10th inning in short order. Now he faces Mike Mordecai hitting for Bird, Lopez, and then Grampanino to follow. Fly ball, short right. Abreu coming in and puts it away for the out.
Not only did he retire the Braves in order in the 10th, impressively just blew Chipper Jones away. That was the 3rd of 3 fastballs. 2 hooks to McGriff, and then a 96-mile-an-hour heater above the belt. No chance.
Wagner, just 25 years old with a great arm. Here's Lopez. Fouls it back. Strike 1. And we saw Hudak for an inning, and with the combination of Wagner and Hudak, the Astros feel pretty good about the closing situation in the bullpen. And while the middle relief might be untested, they do have some pretty good arms. They can get it up there 90 plus. And that's by design. They'd like to see if they can't take a couple of those arms and do a little refining.
Well, Hudak and Wagner give them a chance to have the same kind of situation the Yankees had last year with Rivera and Wetler.
This one down the right side is going to be out of play.
Okay, there's very few teams in baseball that have a dominant setup man and a dominant closer. In fact, name one. Houston, maybe. Yeah. Dodgers awfully deep in that bullpen. The Indians pen deep.
Down to third, and a one-hopper by Spires. Now Lopez has himself a base hit. Let's check in with Gary.
Dewayne, many in our audience will see the Yankees at Anaheim to wrap up their road trip. Alan Watson gives one up to Mariano Duncan, who goes after it and puts it in the gap. Duncan doubles in Witten and O'Neill. He later scored on a bunt by Jeter. It is now 3-0 in the second. Yanks, back to you.
Well, the Yankees breaking out in front here. We have a pinch runner with his 1-out single. Rafael Belliard will run for Javier Lopez. Grampanino, the hitter. Down, ball 1. Grampanino entered the game as a pinch runner in the 9th inning, so he's at the plate for the first time in this game. 2 out of 6 for the year. And misses 2-0.
They found a trick. Get Wagner out of the stretch. A little bit wild on those first 2 pitches.
Rice is called. 2-1.
Bobby Cox is going to be out of players after this inning because pinch running Belliard for Lopez means if we go to the next inning, Eddie Perez comes in and he's tapped at that point.
Foul ball, third base side, and the count goes to 2-2. with Grampanino at the plate and Blauser due next. Very high. Count is full. A lot of base runners in the late stages and into the extra innings of this game. There's Blauser on deck.
Well, you figure if you inserted a pinch runner, you did it to get some speed, so you got to pretty much think that Belliard's going to run here.
He does. The 3-2 swing and a miss, and the throw down. He is out at second base. A strikeout, throw him out, double play, and we are through 11 innings from Atlanta. On to the 12th, tied 3-3.
Underway at Dodger Stadium. Dave Malicki and the Mets facing L.A. Mike Piazza aboard when Todd Zeile hits his second home run as a Dodger. A 2-run shot at Stake Chan-Ho Park to a 2-0 lead as the Mets bat in the third. New York's other team is also on the coast just down the freeway in Anaheim. The Yanks get on the board with 4 against Allen Watson as the Angels come to bat in the bottom of the second. Back to Dewayne and Dave.
All right, Gary, thank you. Runs being scored everywhere except in this ballpark, where the Astros and the Braves have been tied since the 6th.
Well, Belliard, it's not his job to steal a base here. He had to make sure Wagner was going to the plate, and he looks over his shoulder to see, but he's a dead pigeon as Eusebio makes a great throw. Got to make contact as a hitter, but against Billy Wagner and that 96-mile-an-hour fastball upstairs, that's not the easiest thing to do. New battery for the Braves.
Yep. Eddie Perez takes over behind the plate on Alan Embry, the left-hander. He came over from Cleveland along with Lofton. And he'll face the middle part of the Houston order with Bagwell. Jeff Bagwell leading off.
Bobby Cox went for broke, but he's out of players right now, although he does have some fairly decent hitters in his pitching staff, mainly Tom Glavine.
Bagwell sends one into right, carrying toward the corner, and Jones is there to make the catch just short of the track. Well, Bagwell is the first out, going after the first pitch in the 12th.
Ball looked like it got down on Andrew a little quicker than he thought it was going to. Where he was styling just a tad. Hate to have that thing pop out of your glove.
Here's Derek Bell. And the pitch is too low. Ball 1. Embry. He was first signed by Cleveland. They had just an outstanding arm. Then he had some arm problems, underwent surgery, and come back, still throws hard.
Still working in that good off-speed pitch to complement the fastball.
2-0 is foul out of play up the right side. 2-1. There's Eddie Perez, the new catcher.
One of the areas the Braves wanted to shore up was their bullpen depth, especially with Pedro Borbon Jr., their fine left-hander, maybe not back until mid-season.
Some heat there, and a swing and a miss, 2-2.
Right now, the Braves bullpen still has some question marks, but if they get Borbon back, and if Brian Harvey could come through, they could get deep in a hurry. See Derek Bell chasing that high fastball. You don't catch up with that pitch, folks.
The 2-2. Bell sends this one into right field, and Jones is in line to make the catch for out number 2. 2 gone here in the 12th inning. This Sunday, the Astros with Vigil, Bagwell, and Bell take on the Cardinals with Brian Jordan and Ron Gant. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball game of the week. Astros and the Cardinals coming up Sunday at 8 Eastern. Luis Gonzalez. Base is empty, 2 gone. And it's too high, ball 1. Gonzalez has been on base 3 times with a double and 2 bases on balls. And is ahead of Embry. 2 balls and no strikes.
I said the American League plays longer games. Not tonight, but it's less than 3.5 hours than we are in the 12th, as opposed to the 7th.
3-0. Embry, the 5th Atlanta pitcher. And the strike. It's 3-1. The Astros' last hit was the double by Russ Johnson in the 6th inning that gave them a short-lived lead. Gonzalez not too deep. Lofton on the run, and he gets there to make the catch. 3 fly balls in the 12th, and 1, 2, 3 go the Astros against Embry. 3-3 headed into the bottom of the 12th.
Update from San Diego. Esteban Loaiza and the Pirates are handcuffing San Diego. Chris Gomez, one of 3 strikeout victims for Loaiza, is using a solo homer from Kevin Elster to stake a 1-0 lead for himself. They've gone to the top of the 4th. Some of you will see that game, most of you the Yanks and Angels, after the conclusion of Atlanta and Houston.
So all of that action to follow our game from Atlanta, where we are tied 3-3 headed into the bottom of the 12th.
Well, not a Gold Glove type play, but the Gold Glove caliber of what Kenny Lofton did was that he had a great first step. He heard the sound of the bat breaking in Gonzalez's hands, and he got a great jump on that ball.
Changes for Houston. They have a new pitcher. Wagner worked 2, and Jose Lima enters the game with Ray Montgomery taking over in left. Jeff Blauser fouls the first pitch from Lima. Strike 1.
Lima part of that big deal engineered in the offseason between Gary Hunsicker and Randy Smith, the general manager of the Tigers. Several players involved.
And it's fouled back. 2 strikes. There's Montgomery now in left. Made the team coming out of spring training after a couple of years at the AAA level. And Lima goes into the spot vacated by Gonzalez. So he'll hit 5th.
Well, the fans around the country are sitting around waiting for Larry Dierker to make a lot of mistakes as a manager. I don't think it's going to happen. Number 1, I think he's a very sharp guy. Number 2, he takes input from all of his coaches, particularly Bill Burton. And Burton's a guy that's managed in the major leagues for many years, so he ain't going to get caught off guard too many times.
Yeah, it was a surprise decision when they made the announcement. There's no question about that. But when you analyze who the guy is, he's an intelligent man, number 1, a real student of the game and the history of the game as well. That almost got Holyfield. That might have been the knockout punch that nobody else can deliver. Just duck that jab is what he did. Line drive, base hit into left. A leadoff single. So Blauser had gone 0 for 4 before he picked up this line single to open the 12th.
Lima got a breaking ball up. Slider that didn't slide. And Blauser, that's the old backup slider that stayed right in the middle of the plate.
And now Jones will bat. Andrew Jones walked in the 9th inning. And to bunt the runner up, bunts foul, strike 1.
Probably something Andrew has not done a whole bunch in his minor league career. He's always been the best player on any team he's played on. That was not particularly good technique on the bunt there.
He flew through the Atlanta system last year. And his job is to advance the runner here in the bottom of the 12th. Ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, the last thought on Dierker. All those things you talked about. The other thing is that he does not have a big ego. And that's
exactly right.
I mean, one of the things he's talking about is the team concept. And nobody's bigger than the team, but he's not putting himself up on a pedestal.
There's the bunt. Bagwell thought about going down to second, but could not find the handle on it and takes the out at first.
Wasn't the greatest bunt in the world, but Andrew gets it down, gets the job done. A couple of times tonight, Astro infielders have tried to get a grab on the ball and come up with kind of a palm ball. Watch Bagwell reach in and try to grab, and then he goes, oops. 1 play only.
So now Lofton is due. Lofton over in the American League. 4 out of 8 against Lima. Not a chance to swing the bat this time. They will walk him intentionally. Lofton's bunt single in the 6th inning started the uprising that tied this game, and with Tucker on deck, they will give Lofton first base.
30 years ago, there was an expression in baseball, don't let the $100,000 player beat you. And then it was the $1 million player, and then the $5 billion player. And then, I guess in the case of Barry Bonds, don't let the $11 million player beat you. Well, you're not going to let Kenny Lofton beat you. Michael Tucker's a good hitter, but Kenny Lofton is the man who gets paid to do good things in those situations.
So runners at first and second with 1 out. Tucker and Lima have not faced each other. So this is a first. The leadoff single by Blauser. Run it up to second. The intentional walk to Lofton, and here's Michael Tucker. Cut, strike 1. A 3-3 tie.
Pretty good arms in center and right, but if Blauser gets a good read on a ball hit that way, it's going to be pretty tough to throw him out.
Blocked by Eusebio. The count is 1-1. Has been tied since the 6th inning. We've had a total of 3 hits since then, and the Braves on all of those. Tucker stepping back. Chipper Jones on deck. He's driven in 2 of the runs tonight. This one is outside. 2 balls and a strike.
Some Astro fans might say, gee, why didn't you leave Wagner? And he was throwing well. 162 games in a season, that's why. You don't blow your bullpen out in April.
And there's ball 3, 3-1.
It's the old expression, you got to lose a few battles to win the war.
Mauser off second. He's the big one. Strike call. That will take it all the way out to 3-2.
Bobby Cox, decision time. Start the runners. Well, that was borderline, but home plate umpire Larry Vanover rang up the right hand.
Lima's first inning, 3-2. And a drive into center field with the runners going. Bell is back to make the catch, and the runners will retrace. Blauser back in at second. Runners first and second with 2 gone.
Well, a case there where you started the runner is the right move, but because Blauser was about 3/4 of the way to third base, didn't exactly get a tremendous read on it. Instead of being able to tag up and move up to within 90 feet, he's back at second base.
Well, Chipper Jones. Jones doubled home 2 in the 6th. And he takes one down, ball 1. So he had the hit that tied the game. Vern Rule is on his way to the mound, popping out of the Houston dugout.
I really don't know in this visit. I mean, you got a guy that loves pressure situations hitting and one on deck that loves it just as much in Fred McGriff. I don't know if he just spotted a mechanical flaw. They're talking strategy or what. Sometimes the visits are obvious. This one isn't.
Rule, the student of the game, a great student of pitching, spent some time at the collegiate level coaching. So picking up any flaw and teaching the game right down his alley. Clutch hits right down Chipper Jones' alley. Fred McGriff on deck. Tough spot for Lima, and a great stop by Eusebio.
Tony noted more as an offensive catcher, but he's done a good job behind the plate tonight. One ball got away from him he couldn't find, but they eventually cut down Chipper Jones at the plate, who was trying to score from second base. Also threw out a runner.
2-0 the count. Here it is. All three.
And yes, the green light is flashing. Why not let a guy hit 3-0?
Blauser at second base in this tie game, 12th inning. And Jones walks. That's going to load him. They are loaded with Fred McGriff coming up. Durker on his way to the mound, so we'll have a pitching change coming. Thomas Martin, who gave them such a big lift during their homestand, will have a tall order here with the bases loaded. 2 outs, and McGriff coming up.
Following our game, most of you see the Yankees and the Angels. You will not see Alan Watson knocked out of the game when Jorge Posada knocked in Mark Whitten. Second time Whitten scored in the ninth. They got 6 on him. 4 in the second, 2 in the third. Springer has come on to pitch. So the Yanks up big in the last game of their 8-game season opening road trip. And the Pirates are still leading 1-0. And there's the situation in Atlanta.
Well, those games to follow ours here. Lima has been replaced by the left-hander Tom Martin, who was released by this Atlanta ball club. Martin's 26 years old. Got his first big league win over St. Louis. Made his debut against Atlanta in the opening series in Houston. And he inherits a 2-out, bases loaded situation. And he'll face McGriff. Blauser the runner at third. So it's McGriff against the lefty. And the first pitch is upstairs, ball 1.
Normal strategy good. McGriff a year ago, though, hit .321 against left-handers. But career-wise, he's still better against righties.
And Martin comes in missing on the first 2 pitches. 2-0. They are loaded. Blauser down at third. Bottom of the 12th, the 2-0. And McGriff takes ball 3.
Well, tough spot for a young left-hander, but Lurie's got to find out some things about young guys in his bullpen.
Here we are, Blauser. And there is ball 4. So McGriff draws the walk on 4 pitches. Blauser scores the winning run. And in 12 innings, the Braves have beaten Houston 4-3. They're 5-0 at home, and they've won 6 in a row. Atlanta now 6-2. Houston drops to 5-3. The final score in 12 innings: the Braves 4 and the Astros 3. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Dave Campbell and our entire crew, this is Dewayne Staats. Stay tuned. Gary Thorne and Joe Morgan coming up. Some of you will see the Pittsburgh and San Diego game. Now let's go to the Yankees and Angels in Anaheim.